Welcome back to the channel, guys. We have got the Japanese Grand Prix today, and it is looking absolutely fantastic. I've got the weather up, but currently it is raining in Japan, and the conditions are looking like they're probably going to be intermediate tires. But the issue is because Japan is such a long circuit lengthwise, there are parts of the circuit where it's raining, parts of the circuit where it's kind of dry. Um, so the teams are going to have to somehow sort out how they're going to manage those tires, how they're going to manage the intermediates. The concerns they have right now are that they're going to have the intermediate tires are just going to wear out way too fast compared to the slicks. As in, the intermediate tires are going to wear out too fast because the track isn't dry enough, isn't wet enough in certain places. But then there are other parts of the track where it's too wet for having slicks. So we'll just have to wait and see. Um, we are 15 minutes away from the start of the race. Everyone that is tuned in, thank you so much for all of the support. And yeah, I hope to be commentating to you for the rest of the Grand Prix. Right, let me know what your predictions are. I think so. What's happened here is that it is raining. All the drivers are doing all the cars are lined up on the grid, so that's why you can see all of their markers on the map. And then they have, of course, they're currently doing the drivers' parade. No, not the drivers' parade. Sorry, the national anthem out on the track right now, and then they will be getting into their cars and getting ready to go racing. So it's only a matter of minutes before we get underway. The race start has not been delayed like it was in Singapore. So that's great to hear because yeah, we don't want to delay in start of races. So yeah, it's good. Also, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It definitely does help out the channel. And let's get into the Grand Prix. Right, so we have got starting in first place. We've got Verstappen and Leclerc. The championship battle has been pretty one-sided. To be fair, at the start of the season it was even, but Verstappen has just pulled away really. And yeah, so currently, if he gets 8 points more than Charles Leclerc in today's Grand Prix, then he will go on to win the Drivers' Championship. So, for that to happen, Verstappen will have to finish in first, Leclerc will finish in second, and Verstappen has to get fastest lap. So, as long as, well, if Leclerc finishes second, he also he can't have Verstappen get fastest lap for him to win the championship. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter because it's kind of already sealed. Really, we know Verstappen's going to win the championship, so there's not much debate about that. And yeah, morning, Caroli Evans. Yeah, we got 250 people nearly watching. And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Right, so what else have we got going on? See, the thing is, we had qualifying here in dry conditions, and then we have the race in wet. So, if we look at the FP1, FP2 standings, we had in first place in FP1 Fernando Alonso, second place Carlos Sainz, third Leclerc, and then in FP2 we had George Russell first, Hamilton second, and Verstappen third. So, by the looks of it, the Mercedes are looking extremely strong in wet conditions. They were extremely strong in Singapore as well. They can nail their wet setup better than they can nail their dry setup. So expect to see Mercedes coming up through the field. And Fernando Alonso as well said in an interview before the race that the car was a lot better and was a lot more competitive in the wet conditions. So we'll be expecting some nice racing from Fernando Alonso. And yeah. Ooh, whoops. There we go. Sorry, I apologize for that. I am slightly ill, so there we are. How they finish in free practice means nothing. Well, it does, mainly because of the fact that wet conditions. We haven't driven around these cars in wet conditions before at Suzuka, so how the drivers actually manage to adapt and perform is pretty relevant to their FP1, FP2 performances. So I will have a look, and also just another thing to point out that like the amount of laps drivers have had as practice as well, because we have say Esteban Ocon up in fourth place in FP1, but he only did 5 laps of practice, whereas Sainz and Leclerc they did 15, 16 laps, so they know the grip slightly better. They know which parts of the track have got like standing water or puddles, and they know what to avoid, what not to avoid. So yeah, it should be very interesting to see which drivers have more practice in wet conditions in these cars compared to the other ones. So yeah, all right, yeah. In FP2, most drivers came out and did a long run, 20 or so laps. But in FP1, so that little, I mean, the amount of performance you gained in FP1 was definitely very important. So there we go. Right, 9 minutes away from now the race starts. Looking forward to this. I think Gasly will be starting from the pits. I'll just confirm if he's doing that, and I will also find out why. But he might have a bit of an issue in his car. I mean, that's the only reason I can kind of tell. Yesterday, both AlphaTauris were in fact struggling with brake issues. Yuki Tsunoda said in an interview that the brake issues are fixed, but that might have just been because of his car might have been fixed rather than both of their cars. So we will have to wait and see. Yeah, so Yuki Tsunoda, of course, it's his home Grand Prix as well. So that's great to see. He's got support from all of the fans, basically at every single track, basically every single corner. Sorry, and yeah, it's definitely make it feeling very very special for him. And yeah, it'll be challenging conditions, and we'll wait and see how he can do at his home Grand Prix. Of course, we have right. Let's see. George Russell actually got asked about the rain, so let's have a listen. Um, if it stays like this, there will be multiple stops. The S's aren't wet enough for intermediate, so they'll just get chewed up. If we get 3 or 4 stops, we will all go out of the window anyway. Okay, it will all go out the window anyway. Okay, so, ooh, this is interesting. Right, so in practice, there are teams that used a certain amount of wet tires and the teams that used a certain amount of old tires, as in a certain amount of tires that they used in practice sessions, and then they obviously have to carry those tires over into the race. So if we look at this, if we look at the info, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton both have 2 sets of used tires and 2 sets of new tires, whereas everyone else, except for Kevin Magnussen, has 4 sets of fresh intermediate tires. So Mercedes, although they have the pace advantage in the wet conditions, and their pace is significantly faster in the wet, their strategy might be slightly compromised by the fact they have used tires rather than fresh sets. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for them. Hamilton, of course, has his record of winning a Formula One Grand Prix every single season that he's competed, and I mean this might be one of his few chances. Wet conditions at a track where driver skill really matters. This could be one of his chances to potentially just completely outdrive the car and maybe go and score a win, but it will be extremely difficult, and we will just have to wait and see how he goes. Yeah, all right. Well, let's see what else is going on. Of course, guys that have just tuned in, it is wet conditions here in Suzuka. That everyone is out. Everyone in the grandstands have got their ponchos out, and it's likely that we're going to be on the intermediate tires for most of the race. We'll have to wait and see, though, of course, what tires and what strategies the teams end up doing. But yeah, it's looking good. For some wet conditions, there'll be lots of spray, making it difficult. Max Verstappen will obviously have the advantage starting from the front. There'll be no spray for him, but all of the drivers behind him getting more and more spray as they go through the lap. Right. Okay, it's nice to see that you are watching. I mean, I think it's what 4 p.m. in Australia now, so it'll be pretty convenient timing for you. It is currently raining, and in fact, let's just have a look at the weather. I've got the weather loaded up here, so let me just. Right, here we go. So this is the Suzuka track over here. I can't zoom in too much, but it's got 4.8 millimeters of rain in the past 3 hours. In the past 1 hour, 1.8 millimeters of rain. And if we go forward a bit ahead in time, um, there really isn't that much more rain coming down. It's just the amount of rain there is on the ground that's already deposited there, um, is basically just getting soaked into the ground. So there's really not much else rain that's going to be happening. It's just very light drizzle at max. But yeah, 1.8 millimeters of rain around Suzuka for the next couple of hours. And yeah. Oh, there is one afternoon race and you've got other plans. That is unfortunate indeed. Yeah. Right. Oh, we got nearly 700 people watching. We haven't even got close to the start of the race. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It definitely does help out the channel. Right. So we are 5 minutes away from the lights out. I'm going to take you through a lap of Japan. Well, a lap of Suzuka, sorry. And yeah, it's a very, very interesting circuit. The drivers absolutely love it. Vettel, in fact, got slightly emotional over the radio because it was his last time racing here in an F1 car. Of course, he's retiring this year, which is absolutely horrible and terrible. Um, because I'd love to see him continue in Formula One. But yeah, driving around in an Aston Martin maybe not the best thing to do. But of course, we've got Vettel up in ninth. Nearly, yeah, he's half Lance Stroll's position. Stroll's in 18th, Vettel's in ninth. That's how much better Vettel just drove that car yesterday in qualifying. So but he just put in one absolutely hell of a mega lap. It was insane. And yeah, just hooked it all up together. He did that in 2019 at qualified. Charles Leclerc went up on pole position. So yeah, Vettel's definitely got the pace around here. So we'll just wait and see what he can do. Right, so I'll take you through a lap. We've got start finish straight where the drivers are on the grid for, and it is the left side of the grid is uh, pole position. So it doesn't really matter about the grip though because it is all wet conditions right now. Even if you start on the left or the right side, you're not going to have that much of a grip advantage or disadvantage. So that's slightly irrelevant. But pole position starts on the left hand side, and um, the second place starts on the right hand side. Right. So we have the first DRS zone of the circuit. It's the only DRS zone of the circuit as well, in fact. There probably won't be DRS for this race, at least for a while, since we are still in wet conditions. But going down into turn number one, it is a bit of a downhill. You just got to turn the car in. Not you just have to lift off basically just to get that correct amount of turn in. And it's a very high speed corner indeed. And then going into turn number two, you got to hit on the brakes in a straight line to make sure that you don't lock up. And then you just rotate the car as well as you possibly can. Then going through into turn number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of them are part of the S's, and it is absolutely brilliant to drive for the drivers. If you look at the helmet cam, it's basically like a roller coaster, except that you're controlling the roller coaster, which makes it all the more better. And yeah, so even driving it on the F1 games is brilliant. But one thing to point out for that the curbs on the circuit are absolutely lethal. We saw this back in 2019. Hulkenberg touched the curb in quali straight into the barrier, and now with wet conditions, it's going to be even worse. So the curbs are important to stay away from. There'll probably be a bit of standing water that's puddled up at the curbs as well. So not the best way to go forward, or it might actually be, depending on how the situation plays out. Mainly because of the fact that um, the intermediate tires in the S section, so in the left hand side of the track, it hasn't rained that much. On the right hand side of the track, it has, because Suzuka's kind of a long, lengthy track, like Spa is. Um, the left side of the track is kind of dry. The right side of the track is kind of wet. So it will be interesting to see how those drivers deal with it, because maybe they want to cool down those intermediate tires through the S sections, because the S sections are absolutely lethal. Um, so in terms of tire wear, so if your tires are overheating through there as well, it's going to be absolutely horrific, and your tires are going to wear out so fast. Luckily, all drivers have 4 sets of intermediate tires to go on, so that will be great to see. And I suspect because we're very much on the edge of intermediates or dry conditions, and rain is still forecast. There is some static when you speak. Right. I will try and fix that. Um, but yeah, I have to turn the audio down a bit for that to happen. So the sound is fuzzy a bit. Right. Yeah, it seems to be going a bit weird. I don't know exactly what it is. I could try and unplug and replug my mic. I will. Okay, let's see. Um, right. So let's get back to talking about the S section. So the track, mainly what happens is that your tires overheat so much because it's just high speed long corners, which absolutely just ruins your tires. So the drivers will have to we'll see what they're doing, see what racing lines they're taking. Otherwise, yeah, the tires are going to wear out extremely fast. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Then once you've got through all of the S sections through Dunlop Curve, which is turn number 7, it is uphill to turn number 8, which is Degner 1, and then turn number 9, which is Degner 2. You've just got to tap the brakes, flick the car in for Degner 1, which is absolutely brilliant high speed. We saw some drivers getting a little bit of wobbles through the audio is breaking up and there's some static. Right. I will. What I'll do is I will unplug my mic and then replug it in. So, yeah. Right. Just give me 1 second, guys. I will unplug and replug my mic. Okay. Oh, I think this is using the correct microphone. Hopefully that is a bit better. 1 sec. Let me just check which microphone it's using. Yep. Okay, it's using the right microphone. Um, Okay, so let's go. The drivers are on the formation lap. Let's just talk. The rest of the lap is turn number 11, a hairpin. You just got to swing around the outside of the track. It's very much got a lot of banking, like the corners at Zandvoort. And then you got turn number 13 and 14, spoon curve. Um, it's going to be pretty tricky in wet conditions because there are puddles can form quite easily around there. And then you've got 130R, of course. In wet conditions, it should be absolutely fantastic to see how the drivers manage that. And then, of course, you got the final chicane as well. So there we go. Okay, the mic's doing better. It still has a bunch of static. Right. Um, okay, hopefully that is slightly better. I'm gonna try to talk closer to my mic, but then it will be like, right, it sounds great. Okay. Um, So, the driver's currently on the formation lap. We'll go from the bottom to top. We got Latifi starting in 19th place, Pierre Gasly from the pits. We got Stroll and Magnussen in the second to last row of the grid. Both of them didn't have great qualifyings and getting out qualified by their teammates. We've got Albon up in 16th. The Williams car not doing great around here. Of course, the Williams seems to be doing very good in high speed kind of tracks, high speed, top speed oriented tracks. So this is where they're kind of suffering. We got Zhou and Schumacher up in 14th and 15th. 13th and 12th is Bottas and Sonoda. Sonoda, first ever home Grand Prix here, so it'll be brilliant to see how he does. Hopefully, he can go on and score some points for his home fans. We got um, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo in 10th and 11th. Ricciardo actually getting extremely close to Lando Norris in terms of qualifying performance, which is brilliant to see. And hopefully, he can carry on that through the race and maybe go on to even beat Lando Norris. Might help him towards getting a seat for next year. And then we've got Russell and Vettel in 8th and 9th position. Vettel having an absolutely brilliant qualifying. And I hopefully he can go score a podium today. I mean, because I'm a Vettel fan, it's his last season. You know, he deserves a podium. It'd be great to see. Then we got Hamilton and Alonso on the fourth row of the grid. That would be, I mean, um, got Hamilton and Alonso, sorry, in sixth and seventh position. That'd be brilliant to see the racing that they have between those two. Both of them absolutely masters in wet conditions, and yeah, it should be brilliant to see what they can do. And then we've got Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon in fourth and fifth position. We've got Verstappen and Leclerc in first and second, and Carlos Sainz in third. Um, just to be clear, guys, Max Verstappen to win the championship today, he has to score 8 points more than Charles Leclerc, which means that he has to get the fastest lap of the race and win the race with Leclerc in second place. So if Verstappen gets fastest lap and wins the race, he's guaranteed to win the championship. So um, all of you guys, for all of you Verstappen fans, there we are. I will be close to my right. Cool. I will. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So here we go. The drivers now just coming up to the starting grid. Everyone is lined up. Just Stroll and Latifi left to join the queue, and Um, we will be going racing very very soon. All right. So yeah, Latifi, all of them queued up. The spray is quite high. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes for them. But it looks like it is lights out and away we go. And it's Leclerc's already overtaken Verstappen. Verstappen got an absolutely horrible start. And going into turn number one, Leclerc's got the lead. Perez as well. Perez goes up a position. Ricciardo having a brilliant start. Sonoda up 3 places. Stroll up 6th. Vettel's all the way down at the back. Looks like Vettel's had a mistake, and we have got yellow flag conditions. Vettel's down in 20th, lost 11 places. So we'll wait and see. But it looks like Vettel's still going around the track. But we've got yellow flags now. The rest of the drivers still racing on. And Verstappen got the lead back through Leclerc. Looks like Leclerc went too deep into turn number one, overshot his braking, and then he goes into, so Verstappen's got the lead of the race back from Leclerc, basically switching around positions at turn number two. So um, Vettel right at the back of the field. We'll wait and see if he can find his way through. But yeah, looks like he had a horrible start. And yeah, let's just see what tires everyone is on. So we've got everyone starting on intermediate tires, and yeah, everyone on fresh sets of inters as well. All right. We've still got yellow flags out on track. Vettel, it might be some debris over the parts of the track. Oh, and it looks like Sainz losing 9 positions. Sainz has spun on the exit of the hairpin, going through between the hairpin and spoon curve. Sainz spun, and he is down right at position 18. So, guys, can we get an F in the chat for Vettel and for Sainz? And Joe as well. Both of them, all three of them, losing absolutely a ridiculous amount of positions. We got the full safety car out. There is way too much chaos going on. Nobody is hurt or anything, but it looks like there's too much debris on the track. We just need the race to calm down a little bit. So we are under full safety car conditions. But Carlos Sainz down into 20th position, losing out 17 places, up in third. Albon's also stuck on the track. So both Sainz and Albon are stuck. This is not a great start to the race. And so there we go. Sainz and Albon out by the looks of it. And then we'll have the rest of the drivers coming through. Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to make this slightly smaller. We get the full lap time to go in as well. There we go. Okay, right. So there we are. I should probably get rid of this. Right, so we're all under safety car conditions. Albon and Sainz are both out of this race. Their cars have been crashed, and their cars have crashed. They've got out of the car. They have been completely retired. Pierre Gasly still in the pits. It looks like he has a bit of an issue, and he hasn't come out the pits whatsoever. Has he? It says he's in the pits right now, in fact. So he might have had to get like a front wing replacement or something. But yeah, Pierre Gasly into the pits, who will probably be coming out very, very soon. Wow, we've got 4,500 people watching. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Definitely will help out the channel so much. But yeah, I will keep you updated on what's going on the track right now. So yeah, I will try and get an image as well of what happened between Sainz and Albon, because it'd be great for you guys to see. Right. Ooh. Let's see. Yeah. All right, let's have a look what happened there then. Carlos Sainz. It looks like he just spun off the track. Yeah, there's really not much else to say. Must have hit a puddle or something. And Carlos Sainz spun off. So yeah. Oh, Pierre Gasly is on full wet tires. I don't know why Pierre Gasly's out on full wets, but there we go. Pierre Gasly's decided to go out for the wet tires. I mean, looking at the forecast, it does not look that wet. It doesn't look like it's going to get that any more wet. So, don't know exactly what's going on there. Oh, we've got a red flag. The race has been red flagged. I don't know why they've red flagged. Might have been damage to the barriers, but yeah, we have a red flag on the track right now. Alex Albon stuck in the gravel, but he's stuck right next to an escape road. So getting Alex Albon car should not be an issue. But it might be Carlos Sainz. He was going pretty high speed when he did end up getting into a crash. So yeah, it might have been Carlos Sainz hitting the barrier, but I don't see why we've got a red flag right now. Yeah, right. The FIA just doing FIA things. So Albon. Oh, Albon had an engine failure, right? So Albon didn't spin out. Albon had an engine failure. But Gasly's on wets. And we're all coming into the pits now for red flag. But I don't see why we are on red flag conditions. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and find out, but the race control isn't particularly secretive about what they're doing. So there we go. Right, so let's have a look at Vettel's start. So he got a brilliant start, and then he went so close to the. Okay, so God, basically, he went round. He had contact with Fernando Alonso, I think, in ahead of him, or Esteban Ocon, but yeah, he got hit by Alonso basically. Alonso, I don't think he turned to basically Alonso squeezed Vettel out. And there we go. So that's what happened. Yeah, not the best of starts, but I mean visibility is so low, can you blame him? So there we go. Carlos Sainz just spun out into the barriers. I mean, if we get some team radio, I'll definitely play that to you because that'll be interesting. But yeah, we're not getting any team radios through, and yeah, the rain is getting more intense. So we've gone from red flags. We've got Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. We've got some team radio from him, so let's have a listen. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. He crashed. Guan Yu Zhou going into the hairpin just carried way too much speed into corner, tried to get on the throttle and basically just swirled around into a 360. So he's still in the race, but of course down in 17th place. Um, Alex Albon had an engine failure, so he just parked up on the side of the road. Um, so that is the start of the Japanese Grand Prix. Not ideal, really, not ideal whatsoever. Yeah, yeah. The rain is getting heavier, so that is why the FIA decided to go for a red flag. Um, but yeah, hopefully we can get some more radio over. Oh, right. Let's have a listen now. The heaviest rain. Okay, so the rain is forecast to be heavy for the next 10 minutes, and then after that it will be. After that it will lighten up. So it looks like we're going to have a red flag for 10 minutes or so, and then once the rain gets a bit lighter, we will be going back out on track. We've got some team radio from Lance Stroll, who's currently in 11th position. Let's have a listen. Yeah, so that's what's happened. We're on intermediate tires, but Lance Stroll can't see anything. So, I mean, that's to be expected. We'll have to wait and see. Gasly out on the wets. See, the thing is, right, how it works with the wet tires, you've got grooves in the tires, and when you're driving around, only the part that isn't like in the middle of the groove is touching the road. The rest of like the inner bit of the groove is moving the water away from you. Um, so effectively, the bigger your groove is, which the wet tires have bigger grooves, you end up your tire starts like moving around internally. I'm not sure if I'm describing it that well, but basically, because of the bigger grooves that you get in wet tires, you can actually generate more heat in them compared to intermediate tires. So it might actually be a suitable strategy to start on the wet tires, um, because the rain is going to get more intense. So being being on wet tires is going to help out for sure. And then the other thing is that you'll be able to maintain tire temperature even behind the safety car. Say if you get a safety car start, or if we get another safety car due to someone crashing out, we're going to get yeah. So that's what's going on. Yeah. All right. Um, my mate said the weather in Suzuka is pretty bad. He's concerned about the driver safety though. Okay, well, I assume your mate's in Suzuka. So we've got some weather sources in Suzuka. How great is that? The race clock is paused at 1 hour 55. But the complete clock for a Formula One like session kind of thing is still ticking down. It started 15 minutes ago. So we've got another what's it so we got another 45 minutes or so before the race might get cut short. So if the red flag stays for another 45 minutes, which it probably won't, um, the race will be cut short, but I don't think that's happening. And also looking at the weather radar, the most of the intense rain is going to miss Suzuka as we go on. So yeah, currently, currently the intense part of the rain has just passed over Suzuka. We're getting it now for the next 10 minutes or so, and then after that, it will ease off. And yeah, okay. Yeah, let me know what your predictions are in the chat. Who do you think is actually going to come out on top? So, I mean, we've had what, one lap of racing? Yeah, we had one lap of racing, and we have two drivers out, two drivers spinning. Well, Vettel didn't spin; he just got. I think. Oh no, he might have spun because Alonso hit him, but nevertheless, Vettel spun. So did Joe, and Sainz and Albon out of the Grand Prix. So, what? Let me know what your predictions are for who is going to end up winning the yeah winning the race. It's going to be pretty tricky, of course, and yeah. Right, so just looking at Carlos Sainz on board, it was literally he was just putting the throttle on, coming out the hairpin, and just completely lost it. So yeah, there really isn't much else to say, and he was kind of stopped on the track as well. Once he did end up hitting the barrier, bounced off the barrier straight back onto the middle of the track. Um, so yeah, not great there for Carlos Sainz. His rear end completely destroyed. I don't think they'll be able to fix that. But by the looks of it, his suspension all looks fine. So if they can somehow fix a rear wing in like 10 minutes, then Carlos Sainz might be back in the race. I'm not 100% sure. Um, yeah, I don't know how that rules works. I mean, even looking at the onboard cameras, it is so difficult to tell what is actually going on. Um, yeah, because there is just um, so much spray basically everywhere. Um, yeah. Also, Pierre Gasly got hit by a bit of barrier, well, advertising like barrier kind of thing. Basically, when I think it must have been when Science crashed into the barrier. A bit of the advertising that's on the barrier is like, it must have been Honda advertising or something. It was rather ironic that it was Honda advertising, but I think that ended up hitting Pierre Gasly's car. Obviously, he didn't get hurt or anything because it hit the halo. Um, but yeah, not great. All right, I will try and get these images loaded up for you guys. Um, right. Ooh, okay, if we have a look at this, I don't know how much I can zoom in, kind of thing. Right. So Verstappen got the lead. So basically, Leclerc got a brilliant start, going through like coming off the starting grid and then into turn number one. But then the issue is right. So there is a wet racing line and there's a dry racing line. It's rather like a weird idea kind of thing. But also, we are like one subscriber away from 46K. There we go. We hit 46K. Woohoo. Yeah, if we can hit 50K before the end of the season, that would be brilliant. Okay, so what happened here was um, Verstappen got Leclerc got a great start. He went on the inside line. He took the usual dry racing line, of course. So the issue with taking the dry racing line in wet conditions is, of course, that's not the correct racing line. And the other thing is that and the reason it's not the correct racing line is because what happens is when you're in dry conditions, um, we talk about track evolution and the track getting rubbered in, which basically means all of the little nooks and crannies of the track get completely filled up with parts of rubber. And when you have rubber touching against rubber, you get a whole bunch of grip, which is absolutely wonderful when you're in dry conditions. But then when you're in wet conditions, what happens is that the rain falls onto that bits of rubber, and it gets all slippy basically everywhere. Um, so when the rain falls onto the dry racing line where all of the rubber has been deposited because everyone's been driving there, you end up getting a very slippy surface. So what Leclerc did, he got a great start, got ahead of Verstappen, but then by the time he got into turn number one, he just drove all over the slippy surface, had no grip whatsoever, and Verstappen went on the outside line where nobody really drives in the dry conditions. But because nobody drives there, it's not slippy in wet conditions, and then swooped around the outside and yeah, just got ahead of him. So yeah, great job there from Max Verstappen, just knowing how to adapt what race line to take in what kind of conditions. We saw this with Verstappen in 2016 in Brazil, where it was soaking wet, um, and he was taking the most bizarre, weird racing lines to get around like experienced drivers like Nico Rosberg and stuff, and it was absolutely brilliant driving there from Verstappen a couple of years ago, and he's executed that once again as well. Um, so yeah, well, there's a lot more to see though, and I suspect what will be happening is that all of the drivers now will be watching the onboards of all of the other drivers. So basically, because you only have knowledge of like a couple of wet Suzuka race starts. So all of the drivers will be looking at the onboards of all of the other drivers to try and see how did this driver get some pace, how did they get some performance, and yeah, they'll be basically looking at everyone else's race start, trying to see what they can use to adapt, and yeah. Int means the interval between the other drivers, so like the time gap between first and second. So it says gap, which is the distance, the amount of time from that driver to the driver in first position, and then int is the gap, is the amount of time difference between the driver and the driver ahead of them, and int is also the intermediates. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, they're waiting for the rain to. Well, they're waiting for the rain to intensify. Well, to reduce its intensity. So, it started, but then yeah, the rain got stronger. We had like two spins, two crashes. Well, two spins and two DNF. So, yeah, not ideal. So the FIA decided, well, we're gonna stop the race. It probably isn't the most safe thing to do. And yeah, even looking at the visibility of the drivers on board, if the car ahead hasn't got their flashing lights on, it is tremendously difficult to see anything ahead of you. I guess that's the point of the flashing lights, of course. But Fernando Alonso having an absolutely brilliant little tussle there with, I think, Lewis Hamilton, or with George Russell by the looks of it, and then getting an overtake done as well. Um, Oh no, it was against Lewis Hamilton. In fact, he went a bit too deep, got a little slidey on the exit. But Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso having a brilliant little battle there going into turn number 11. Um, yeah, wet tires do exist for a reason. Um, I think what they might do is have a safety car start. That might be the best way to go forward. But yeah, who knows what will happen? And yeah, how long is the red flag for? Well, we expected it to be 10 minutes long, but yeah, it's been slightly longer. Um, So yeah, we're not really sure. The FIA haven't said much about it. Um, but the driver what they have said is that you're allowed to put up the little, oh, what's the little tent called? I don't know what it's called. Basically they're allowed to put a little tent up around the cars in the pit lane to prevent them from getting wet. Um, so yeah, that's what's happening, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see. When will the red flag end? I'll probably try and just put a timer down to see when the red flag will end. To be honest, it's we're not getting so much communication from the FIA, so there's not really much to say. Um, yeah, visibility pretty much zero, as said by Valtteri Bottas, and mhm, don't know exactly what to say. Right, let's see what else is going on. Ricardo has said it is the right call. Um, okay, so Ricardo said it's the right call, and Bono, Lewis Hamilton's radio, said the forecast is pretty grim. So yeah, yeah, guys, we should all do a sun dance. To be honest, I think that's a great idea. Instead of doing a rain dance, let's do a sun dance and try and summon some rain, summon some sun, and get rid of the rain, and then we will be able to, yeah, and then we'll be able to actually see some, and then we'll be able to see some racing. I mean, let's have a look at the forecast again. I can refresh the website, but I don't think that's gonna change much. So this is Suzuka, um, pinpointed on the map, and if we go, say, further ahead, it doesn't look like it was. Oh, okay, it's definitely got more green. Um, so if we go to here, yeah, so it's worse down here, of course. But this is where Suzuka is, this little dot, and it's been raining for quite a while. And if we go slightly ahead, yeah, 5 millimeters of rain, 4.8 millimeters of rain. Um, yeah, going through a full centimeter of rain is not great. So yeah, there we go. Don't know what else really to say. Um, Looking at the onboards as well. Sorry, not the onboards. Um, but looking at the pit lane, there is basically a constant little river forming of water just going all the way down the pit lane. So yeah, there is a constant flow of rainwater just soaking its way down the pit lane, and it might be a while till we end up getting some racing. I will keep you updated on what the FIA has got. Why did Vettel lose so many places? Vettel had contact with Fernando Alonso going into turn number one, and yeah, Alonso didn't give him too much space, and Vettel and Alonso collided. Vettel spun around, and yeah, the rest is history. Right, sorry about that. Do you think Ocon going to hold P4 to the end? Um, Well, with Lewis Hamilton behind him, I think it'll be pretty tough. But considering the visibility is so low, if we get a safety car restart, even closing that little gap up between Alonso and Ocon and Hamilton, sorry, will be pretty tough. So yeah, if we get a safety car restart, Ocon definitely has a lot better chances of holding back Lewis Hamilton. But it will be pretty tough to say. But and then if he loses the position to Hamilton, he'll also lose the position to Alonso and probably Russell, and then go down into seventh position. So yeah, it's not ideal. Um, don't want this to become the Belgian Grand Prix. I don't think it will. I think the FIA know that the Belgian Grand Prix was absolutely horrible, and yeah, because I remember that day I commentated for like 4 or 5 hours, um, trying to just like hoping for the race to start, but yeah, it never did, which was well pretty bad. So there we go. Oh no, we did get a quote unquote race start at the Belgian Grand Prix, but it wasn't really a race start, was it? So yeah, I got up at when did I get up to watch this? Um, yeah, 4 a.m. I guess. I don't know. When is the restart? No idea. Yeah, unfortunately, no clue whatsoever. Um, because the FIA is being the FIA. Ooh, you guys want to do a F1 quiz? Since we've got a while now till the race actually begins. Um, well, you've skipped your breakfast to see the race. You might as well go ahead and see the race. And while you're going breakfast, remember to drink some water and stay hydrated because staying hydrated is definitely key. Um, right. Um, so let's see. Have we got anything else? No, no news from the FIA. All of the teams. Oh, by the way, all of the drivers have got out of the. All of the drivers have got out of their cars, and they're all in the garage. So it's not like we're going to have a quick restart because usually the FIA gives like a 10-minute warning to all of the teams, and then we get told about it like 5 minutes later, and then we go racing. So yeah, all of the drivers are out of their cars, which means we probably won't have a restart at least for a while. Everyone's just staring at their weather monitors. So there we go. Also, everyone in the chat that's saying nice commentary, I think Sinistra Gaming and Fundage. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I would have got up to watch the race anyway, but doing commentary is yeah very enjoyable. So there we are. Also, the other thing, we got nearly 4,000 people watching. If we could get 1,000 likes or so, that would be absolutely brilliant. And also, if all of you press the like button in like the next 10 seconds, it basically like breaks the YouTube algorithm, which would be great because yeah, our stream's doing pretty well today, and it'll be absolutely wonderful if it did even better. Um, so yeah, go ahead and do that. Um, let's see, what else have we got going on in the paddock? I mean, I could probably try and get like a little image of the restart. Not the restart, sorry, image of the race start, and then explain what happened to you guys. But it was so complicated. Everyone, I mean, look, all right, Lance Stroll's on board was like so crazy indeed. It was like so. If you guys remember, I think it might have been like 2001, Schumacher versus Barrichello, maybe. Oh no, it was Schumacher versus Juan Pablo Montoya at Hungary, where Schumacher basically like gave him literally just one car's width, like the perfect amount to to fit through the gap. That's exactly what happened to Lance Stroll going through down the start finish line. Um, he was side by side with another driver, and he literally just squeezed past um, between like I don't know which driver it was ahead because visibility is so bad I literally can't even tell from the camera. But Stroll literally squeezed past two drivers and being right next to the barrier, and it was ridiculous. I mean, there's going to be in the highlights. You're going to see so many onboards. You might as well just get an onboard of every single driver at the start of the race, because all of them were absolutely crazy. So if you just look at Verstappen's on board, he started off slower than Leclerc. Leclerc got a much better start, but what Verstappen did squeezed him. Verstappen squeezed Leclerc onto the inner racing line where it was the dry racing line where it's all slippy and wet. Um, it's all slippy. It's wet everywhere on the track. But yeah, Verstappen basically pushed Leclerc onto the bad part of the track, and then Verstappen drove on the good part of the track himself, and yeah, ended up taking that place back. Even though he did get a slower start, Vettel got a brilliant start. He went, I think he went side by side with Esteban Ocon, and he's basically all over the white line. Like his car's getting all oh no, not Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso, but his car was getting all squabbly. Um, because like half of it was nearly on the grass. And then he ended up like turning for the corner, and then I don't think Ocon did. So, oh no, not Ocon. Why am I saying Ocon? I don't think Alonso did. And yeah, so there we go. No sign of a restart yet. Well, that is, yeah. It's been 20 minutes since the red flags happened, and yeah, no sign of the rain getting any lighter. Um, so there we go. Yeah, both Aston Martins had absolutely crazy starts. Vettel was brave going slightly nearly onto the grass, and the same for oh look at this, Alex Albon has appeared. Oh, he's also disappeared. Right. Yeah, so both Aston Martins having a ridiculous start, and both of them being very brave as well. I mean, they've not got much to lose. Start having a pretty slow car. You might as well go full send at the start of a wet race, gain some couple positions, and yeah, do the bigger wheels create more spray this year? We only have bigger rims. I think the actual diameter. Oh no, the actual diameter and circumference of the wheels is the same. So the spray should be pretty much the same. But the other thing with this year is that last year the spray kind of went like back from the car, like it went backwards, whereas this year the spray kind of gets put upwards and then it falls down itself. So yeah, when you're following a car like very close behind, it's actually pretty good because the spray rather than going right into your face, it goes up. Um, whereas last year it would go right into your face. Um, but then when you're slightly further behind, the spray goes up and then comes down. So it's yeah, it's a bit weird, but nevertheless. All right. Um, yeah, we got 4,300 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. It is absolutely wonderful to have your guys' support. Um, and yeah, right. Okay. We might as well. Yeah. Oh, actually, guys, yeah, we might as well just talk in chat. So, what are your guys' favorite track? I would probably say my favorite track to drive on the F1 game would probably be Austria, but that's only because I'm like really good at it. Um, and then I mean, watching the Suzuka onboards definitely makes me think that Suzuka might be my favorite track if I was to actually drive it. Um, but yeah, I think that's still a long way away. Um, the Turkish Grand Prix is a very nice circuit. In fact, I haven't driven that in the. I don't think it's been in any of the F1 games. Um, but yeah, it's a definitely very fun race to watch. And yeah, Belgium, yeah, Spa's definitely a classic. Um, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's Spa-Francorchamps. It's got Eau Rouge. It's got Radion. It's got Longchamp, and Pouhon. All of them are iconic corners. Um, and yeah, any racing fan will know. So yeah, Spa definitely a very good circuit indeed. Right, let's see. What else should we talk about? Look, what teams and drivers do you support? I would do a poll, but you can't. You can. The maximum is only four. You can only support. You can only put four options in a poll, so I can't put all the teams and drivers. So, yeah, let me know what your favorite drivers are in the chat. Mine is obviously Seb Vettel. Yeah, bit disappointed really that he got hit off by Fernando Alonso, but it is what it is. Charles Leclerc and Seb Vettel. Well, 2019 would have been a great year to be a Ferrari fan, especially with their little cheating engine that they did have. Yeah, how many laps? We have 53 laps of racing around Suzuka, but it's only what is it? We've only done I think two or one maybe. We've only we're on the second lap now. So we've done one full lap, and then we had a safety car. Well, no, I think we did maybe two. Yeah, I think we might have done two. Also, next year's calendar is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know who said this in chat. Who said it? Ave Lee. Um, yeah. Next year's calendar is ridiculous, as in there's so many races, and there's basically around every single country in the world. Um, yeah, which is kind of interesting, really. I don't know how the teams are going to manage with so many races. It's basically every other weekend. If there was races every single day, and not every single day, every single weekend, like every other weekend. But of course, we got the 3 month winter break, 1 month summer break. Um, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of back-to-back races. I don't know how the teams and the engineers are going to manage, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Right, let's see. Have we got? Oh, we're getting a race restart. We are getting a race restart, guys. We are 13 minutes. 13 minutes till the race restarts. Absolutely wonderful. Right, I'm gonna put a timer down, and yeah, 13 minutes till the race restarts. Woohoo! Okay, let's just put that there, and race restart. Right, lovely. Okay, there we are. Race restart in 12 minutes and 20 seconds. Woohoo! You'll love to see it. Okay. So I think we'll have to. It says the race restarts and it's gonna be a rolling restart. Okay. So we're starting under the safety car. It's not gonna be a standing start, of course, but there we are. Right. Yeah. Alex Albon pretty disappointed with his engine failure, of course. Yeah, don't know exactly what to say, but Alex Albon was pretty annoyed when he had an engine failure. So there we are. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, there are so many good tracks. There's South Africa. There is the track in Malaysia. They're all so like, and then there's the track in India. There is what other tracks are there? There's Turkey, and all those circuits didn't make it on. And then we've got a bunch of races in like um the USA and stuff. And I mean, to be fair, the US tracks aren't that bad. The next race I think we've got is actually in USA. But yes, there are some races that really shouldn't be races, like the race in Saudi Arabia. I don't know how many fans there are that actually like Formula One there. Maybe there are fans. I mean, of course there are fans, but yeah, I think there'd be much more support in say circuits like Kyle Army. But what can you do? The world works on money, and yeah. All right. Hockenheimring as well. Hockenheimring. That was a great Grand Prix. Yeah, we don't have any races in Germany, which is very unfortunate indeed. So don't know what else to say really, but yeah, would be great to see um, race restarts. Would be great to see races in Germany as well. So yeah, Miami wasn't the best thing as well either. But here we are. The rain has slightly eased up as far as I can tell. But then we're getting a safety car restart kind of thing, like a rolling restart. So what's going to happen is that once the drivers go out onto the track, all of the spray and all of the puddles that have built up, they're going to be driving all over them. And because they've got, well, F1 cars and they spray all the water everywhere, the puddles that are formed, they will pretty much disappear very, very soon. And by the looks of it, everyone will be starting on wet tires because it is, well, yeah, the rain got pretty heavy in the red flag period. So we'll have to wait and see. Is there going to be a race in Vietnam? I don't think there is actually. They built an entire racetrack in Vietnam, and then we didn't have a single race there. So yeah, it is just FIA things really. Um, but yeah, race restart in 10 minutes time. Absolutely wonderful. All right. Yeah, drivers now just going back into their cars, getting ready for the restart. So yeah, make sure to don't know what else to say really, but the race is restarting very, very soon. Also, if you haven't hit the like button or subscribe, please be sure to do so. It would be wonderful if we could maybe hit. I think we hit 46K today, but if we can hit 47K as well, I mean, the more the merrier. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe and like. Um, we will be going racing very, very soon. All right, you're there at Suzuka. Travis Wilkin is at Suzuka, and you're getting completely soaked. Well, thank you for the weather update. Yeah. Yes. Oh, Bathurst as well. Yes, if the cars got smaller, I think that would actually be better. Mainly because of the fact, because if you think about it, if the cars get smaller, there'll be less dirty air coming off the cars as well. So, um, because say if the car is 2 meters wide, then the dirty air that's coming off like behind the cars is probably say maybe 3 meters wide, 4 meters wide, if you go a bit far further back. But say if your car is 1.5 meters wide, the amount of dirty air that comes off is significantly less, and the drivers can go on different parts of the track and maybe try and avoid some dirty air. And then yeah, and then just narrower cars means you can go side by side more without risking getting close to a barrier or anything. And yeah, just allows you to maneuver around more. So there we go. Did it start already? No, yeah, the race sorry, I just hit my mic there. Um, the race did start. We had one lap of oh no, we had 2 laps of racing. We're on currently on lap number 3. And yeah, we'll have a safety car restart in 7 minutes time. Um, there we go. We were actually watching from Bathurst. Yeah, I mean Bathurst is that brilliant track. Like it's so tight and twisty, and it's very like intricate. As in, yeah, well, it is very intricate. And then you've also got the long straights as well. It makes it very. It's very much like Baku, where you've got the tight and twisty corners, and then you've got a long straights and stuff as well. And we know Baku is absolutely brilliant for racing. So there we are. Yeah, I mean the issue with Bathurst is that sometimes it's very very steep in terms of its uphill and downhill nature, and maybe the F1 cars can't deal with that because they're so low to the ground. So there we go. Start the race. I mean, Ridwan Setiwan has said, "Come on, start the race. Call the FIA." I mean, actually, what's the FIA's number? Let's have a look. I'll carry on commentating while I try and find the FIA's number, but I will call them. Um, Could an F1 race be held at the Bathurst racetrack? Well, I think you'd have to work that out, term it, depending on. I think it all depends on whether you have enough ground clearance. But I think they have endurance races there at Bathurst as well, don't they? So I presume the endurance racing cars are pretty low to the ground as well. Um, so maybe it's possible. Yeah, FIA phone number. Oh, let's have a look. The FIA phone number, FIA Foundation 02079303882. There we go. Let's just call up the FIA. Why not? Um, oh, the FIA have also said it's mandatory that you have to use wet weather tires. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that most teams are going to go out on the wets. But I don't think they mean like you have to use full wets. I think it means that you can go out on inters or wet tires. Um, Yeah, we're still not sure because once you're in safety car conditions, you can restart the what's it called? You can change your sorry, when you're in red flag conditions, you can change your tires to whatever tires you want. So the drivers that are currently on intermediates, they may go out and switch to the wet tires because it might be beneficial in terms of tire temperature and all of that kind of stuff. But then we could see some drivers stay out on intermediate tires and then have to do one less pit stop. So yeah, it's risk versus reward. Nobody's driven out on the track yet. We don't know how wet it's going to be, how dry it's going to be. If there's too many puddles, too little puddles for wet tires, we will just have to wait and see. But I suspect if you guys remember back 2019 Hockenheimring, that race started off full wet conditions, went to intermediate tires, went to dries, went to inters, and then went to fully dries. I suspect we're gonna have a race like this. Hockenheim, a classic circuit of Formula One. Suzuka as well, once again another classic. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. All right. So 4 minutes now till all of the drivers getting into their cars, and then we will be they will be taking their little tents away from the cars, and they will be going racing extremely soon. Okie dokes. So yeah, not much else to say really. Uh, yeah, let me know what your predictions are. In fact, who do you think is going to win the race? Who do you think is going to end up crashing? In fact, that might be a bit more of a likely predict. Well, the race is going to obviously end, of course, but who do you think is going to crash? Because that will be um, yeah, we had two DNFs at the start of this restart. Of course, this restart is now a safety car restart, and the track drivers have a little more experience as well of the track. They've done like a lap and a half of racing around here, or so. Yeah, we will have to wait and see. Right. Yeah, lots of you guys think saying Max will win. I mean, looking at Max's performance on the restart, it was absolutely brilliant. Um, but yeah, okay. Let's have 2 minutes and 50 seconds now till we go racing. We got 500, 4,500 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And also, if you have any of the like button as well, would be brilliant if you did so. Um, yeah, because the more likes we get, the more people start watching. Um, and of course, the more the merrier. And there we are. Okay. So, yeah, the safety, all of the teams now just putting on their tires. The tire warmers are on. And yeah, we will be going racing shortly. Uh, we still can't tell. In fact, the tire information that's on the screen right now, that is not the correct tire information. They'll have to complete sector number one, and once they complete sector number one, the timing system updates, and then we find out what tires they're on. So yeah. Also, the other thing is that the left-hand side of the track where the drivers will be driving on, that looks a lot drier than the right-hand side of the track. So it should be pretty good. As in, maybe you could risk it on intermediate tires. We will just have to wait and see. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen all of the conditions. I mean, oh, actually, I've just got another shot of the track, and there's a massive puddle next to the white line. Um, it is just everything's on the line here. You really can't predict a thing, and there are puddles, there are rivers across the track. But at least the FAA are going racing. We may get a couple of laps under the safety car rather than just going straight for a restart. But yeah, there's a river coming out on the track going through. I think going between the first and second S's. In fact, so yeah, it's pretty treacherous conditions out there, and we'll wait and see what the drivers can do. Okay, we are now 1 minute away from the drivers coming out of the pit lane behind the safety car, getting ready for some racing. The drivers just getting their seatbelts put in by the mechanics, and their helmets on, gloves on, and out onto all right. Yeah, and the other important thing that the drivers have to do, I actually didn't know about this before. But the drivers, they have to completely dry off their shoes because if they have wet shoes, then when they put their feet onto the brake and acceleration pedals, yeah, their feet are going to slip. So yeah, we will have to wait and see. It should be all right though. Most of the teams probably know that already. But yeah, no flashbacks to Spa. I'm hoping for 9 seconds now till the green flag is out, and then we will have some great racing around here in Japan. Yeah. Oh, what? What is this? What is this? The restart has been suspended. A minimum of 10 minutes notice will be given to a restart. Why have they just suspended the restart? The FIA, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, the FIA have just said that they've suspended the restart. There is really not much else to say. Um, all of the engineers are bringing back the tents and their umbrellas. But yeah, race control, I think they just saw another heavy cloud on the weather radar or something. I mean, that's the only feasible explanation for why they would just cancel the race restart as soon as we got there. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is just a bit annoying, isn't it? The FIA is just being a bit of a, I guess they're just being a bit of a joke, really. They see one cloud and then they're like, okay, we need to stop racing. I think it should be fine, but of course, I don't have that much experience in it, organizing and controlling a race. So yeah, don't know what to say. But they've suspended the restart, and a minimum of 10 minutes of notice will be given before another subsequent restart. So here we are once again waiting for a restart to occur. Um, yeah, what a yoke, exactly. I mean, even looking at the weather radar, it all looks light blue, and light blue is like not actually that bad. Like green rain is kind of like a light drizzle. Yellow is probably like a bit too heavy to go racing, but it all looks kind of light blue apart from like a little section where it goes green. But green is still fine for racing, so the FIA is don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing, but the safety car is out on track, just assessing the conditions. But nevertheless, that's not very useful when we're not going racing. So there we are. Okay, we have some team radio from Valtteri Bottas while he's sat in the pit lane, so let's have a listen.
With these conditions, that's never.
So Valtteri Bottas saying it's never going to happen anyway. Um, so there we go. Um, we may have the race cancelled. I mean, I don't think it's going to be cancelled. Um, because I mean, I'm looking at the weather forecast, even the official forecast that they've got there on the Sky Sports thing as well. It's showing light blue, and light blue is not heavy rain. It's pretty light drizzle. But what can you do? What can you do? Half points won't be awarded. They had that absolute mess at Spa, and then they changed the rules up. So yeah, I think you have to complete at least a quarter of the race for any points to be awarded whatsoever. Yeah. To be honest, I don't think the race can be postponed onto the next day. Um, because the F1, like the entirety of F1, have their entire logistics team set up for leaving tonight and going to the USA. And Japan to USA is quite a long journey, so they can't really postpone it onto the next day. To be honest, yeah, yeah, the fans should get their tickets back and their money back, but yeah, and the drivers are getting out of their cars again, so it's not like we're getting a restart in 10 minutes time. It's we will be given a notice 10 minutes before we get a restart. Um, but what is there to say really? Yuki Tsunoda was so yeah, he was very much looking forward. He was buzzing basically for this race to start, and yeah, there is apparently heavy rain in Suzuka now, according to his up 1 2 3 2. But yeah, heavy rain not ideal whatsoever. I don't know why they would say there's going to be a restart and then as soon as we're actually about to go racing, they suspend it because that makes like no sense. If they suspended it like okay, we saw the race cloud like the rain cloud like 5 minutes before the restart, and then that would have made sense. But They let the timer tick down all the way to 0, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we just cancelled it." Like, so there we are. It's yeah, just a bit annoying, but what can you do? What can you do? Oh, I see. They've got some weird rain clouds that aren't like part of the radar. I don't know, but they've got some pretty heavy looking rain clouds on the radar now. Um, so yeah. Alonso and Tsunoda chose to still just sit in the cockpit. Um, but yeah, it does not look like the race will be restarting anytime soon. Yeah. Oh, we got nearly 5,000 people watching that. That's pretty brilliant. But yeah, the race still unfortunately been delayed. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, there's nothing really that I can do or you can do to do that. So what to change that. So it is just the race. Yes, Deadly Mantis. That is actually a very good point. I actually thought about that. I think in Singapore, um, it's just like you might as well put the drivers behind the safety car, just get them driving around the track, form a dry line, and then goes racing. But I don't think that is probably the best way to do it because actually I don't see a problem with it. But there we are. No, the race hasn't been cancelled or anything. But the timer is definitely ticking down with the 3 hour like total race timer. And once you get to the end of that 3 hour timer, the entire race is over. And that has been ticking down. So currently there's 2 hours and 4 minutes left on that timer, and we got 1 hour and 55 minutes left on the race clock. So I mean, it'll be pretty tight in terms of finishing all every single lap. And we don't really know what the lap times are going to be in wet conditions, especially these wet conditions, because we only went out really on intermediate tires on Friday. Full wets is a bit of an unknown, really. So yeah, not sure what to say. Carlos Sainz has been asked in an interview, so it basically just said, obviously disappointed to crash the car, but the conditions were impossible with visibility and aquaplaning. As soon as I pulled out from behind a Checo's car, I aquaplaned and was just praying for no one to hit me. When you see the situation, we were driving with no visibility. Um, so effectively, if you guys don't know what aquaplaning is, when you're driving across a wet track, what happens is that, well, for you to have any sort of grip whatsoever, your tires need to be in contact with the actual ground itself, not the wet, well, not a puddle or not like a little bit of water that's like sitting on top of the ground. It needs to be in contact with the ground itself. Um, so the issue with that is when you're on when you're on slick tires. So say you're on slick tires in wet conditions. What happens is you evenly just press down on the entire little patch of wet water, um, and then you try to turn your car, but your tires aren't actually touching the ground. They're touching the layer of water that's on top of the ground, and basically when you turn the car, you go nowhere because the water provides no grip. The actual road itself provides a grip. If you're not touching the road, you can't get any of that grip. So, um, what happens with the wet tires is it's just the exact same thing, but because you might drive over a puddle or something, um, none of your actual tire um, touches the road, and then you lose complete control of the car. And say if you turn your steering wheel a bit um, when you have no control of the car, when you do get control of the car again, your car just snaps absolutely ridiculously. Um, so so yeah, that's what it is. That's what aquaplaning is. It's pretty dangerous when it does happen. So that's why we've got the grooves in the F1 tires. So what happens is instead of the tires sitting on top of the water, what they do, the water gets squeezed towards the groove and then sprayed out the back, so the rest of the tire can actually touch the ground. But of course, if there's too much water, the tires can't spray all of it out, and that's when you end up getting aquaplaning. So there we are. Any scope of a potential restart within the next 10 minutes? Well, let's have a look. We are on the. Ooh, yeah, it is ice cream time for the drivers. Drivers getting out of their cars and they're having some ice cream. So, yeah, Kimi Raikkonen would be proud. But I don't think we're going to be getting any race restarts. We got some team radio from Seb Vettel. It might be like he's still in the radio, still in the garage. But let's have a listen.
So we don't know for sure, but our feeling is that they're going to have to wait for this heavy rain to come, which is about 10 minutes, and it might last about 20 minutes. So I think it's probably another half an hour wait.
That is not looking good. That is not looking good whatsoever. 10-minute wait for the heavy rain, and then another 20 minutes for the heavy rain to go. Um, and then you can restart the race. So that is a 30-minute wait on top of the hour that we've already been waiting. Um, so yeah, we did 2 laps of racing, and then now we're on the third lap. It currently says pits because everyone's in the pits and we're in. Yeah. Yeah, if only they had the foresight to start the race an hour earlier. I mean, that would have been great actually. But getting up an hour earlier. Actually, I was awake in time for that actually, so I could have done that. But um, yeah, what can you say really? See if we started up before, like before the heavy rain cloud, um, and it might have been suitable because as the rain falls, the cars drive around the track and get rid of the water. Um, but yeah, it's so tricky to say anything really. Yeah. All right. Yeah. This is the best commentary so far because I haven't got bored. Well, I am quite pleased to hear that. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've been commentating on a red flag for about an hour or so, and somehow you guys still aren't bored, and you got 4,000 people watching. So, very much do appreciate the support. Also, actually, fun fact: we hit 10K subscribers. This channel hit 10K subscribers last year on this day. So that is pretty cool. Yeah, we were currently went from 10K to 46K in a year. Hopefully, if that grows, carries on going up, and gets sharper and sharper, we should be yeah, well, the channel should be doing great. Um, Science aquaplane, yeah, Science aquaplane in the first lap on the exit of the hairpin. So yeah, that's what happened. Uranium 235. Thank you for the yeah. Thanks for the nice comment. Yeah, what you're welcome. I guess. Um, yeah, Uranium 235. What a nice name. I'm pretty sure Uranium 235 is the yeah. It's the uranium that's like 95% in nuclear reactors. Yeah, I know. Physics genius, of course. Yeah, right. What else is there? So Binotto's having an ice cream. Well, there we are. Um, you're watching Bathurst 1000 still waiting. Oh, Bathurst 1000? I don't know if Bathurst is on right now. Um, yeah, we're still in red flag conditions. It is not that fun. Right. Um, Well, what else can we talk about? Oh, we can actually talk about the what's it called? The driver transfers for next year because well, we've got quite a while till the actual race restarts. So we might as well talk about the driver transfers. Um, so let's get them up. I think we've got Nick DeFries driving for AlphaTauri. Um, I think right, yeah, I'm gonna have to confirm all of this stuff because I haven't been the most up to date with it. Um, yeah, right. Let me. Oh, okay. No, there won't be half points or anything. So basically after Spa, what happened was that yeah, after Spa, the FIA changed up the rules. They realized that it was an absolute mess, and they were like, right, well, we got to change the rules now. So that's what they did. Yep, Nick De Vries. Oh, I'm gonna just look F1 2023 driver lineup. Okay, right. Ooh. So we have got. Let's see. We've of course got Hamilton. Hamilton's contract is ending in 2023. We'll have to wait and see what he does. If he decides to extend that over. We've got George Russell on a multi-year contract for Mercedes. Then the two Red Bull drivers, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez. Both of them contract aren't expiring for a while now, so they should be good. Max Verstappen goes to 2028. I mean, that's so long. Um, there we go. And then we got um, for Ferrari, we have Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Both of their expires 2024, so that's a while. We've got Lando Norris expiring in 2025, Oscar Piastri expiring in 2024. So Oscar Piastri, the new McLaren driver, replacing Daniel Ricciardo. In for Alpine, we have got Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso left, and replacing him is Pierre Gasly on a multi-year contract. We don't know exactly for how long. At AlphaTauri, we got Yuki Tsunoda at the end of 2023, so he's still got a contract. And then we have Nick De Vries as well. He is at the end of 2023. We've got Fernando Alonso on a multi-year contract at Aston Martin. Lance Stroll, of course, his dad owns the team, so he's driving for Aston Martin as well. His contract ends at 2023 technically, but I think it just extends every single year. Um, and then we have Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou driving for Alfa Romeo. And then we have Alex Albon in the Williams. We don't know the second Williams driver. We have Kevin Magnussen for Haas on a multi-year contract. And then we don't know the second Haas driver either. So, yeah, the two Williams and Haas drivers are not have not been decided yet. Um, so we'll wait and see. Did Hamilton sign an extension 2 years ago? Well, there we go. Not 2 years ago, 2 days ago. Um, so Hamilton's been extended out. Okay. Well, the other thing to consider is then who's going to drive for Williams and Haas. Um, Daniel Ricciardo would be quite a good fit for Williams if he was willing to go down on the pay scale. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo got a lot of, well, he was very, very good at Red Bull. When he went over to Renault, he demanded a pretty high package. I think he was getting like one of the top paying F1 drivers because he was driving for a midfield team, but he was like a top driver. Um, yeah, Renault had to pay him a lot of money. I don't know exactly what the situation is at McLaren right now. Um, but I suspect he's gonna have to take a significant pay cut if he's gonna want to drive for Williams. And yeah, I don't think Haas is really on the cards for him because Haas is very much the next Ferrari driver academy. So we might have Mick Schumacher, or we could have, don't know who else we could have really. But yeah, Mick Schumacher could continue on. But yeah, his performance hasn't been like outstanding or exceptional or anything like that. He's had a couple of good weekends. He's been performing on par with Kevin Magnussen. We know Kevin Magnussen is a good, like consistent midfield driver. But yeah, Schumacher at least hasn't got the talent. What's happening here? Uh, Let me just check. Has the race restarted while I haven't been paying attention to something? Ooh, what is going on? What is going on? No, for some reason the race clock has just started to tick down. Um, I will have Daniel Ricciardo's on $25 million a year. Wow. Okay. Oh, the race clock is starting to tick down because okay, so basically we've got a 1 hour and 54 minutes left till the race is over. Like it's guaranteed that the race will be over in 1 hour 54 minutes because that's when the complete session timer is over. Um, so the race isn't being cancelled or anything. But yeah, so even if we so say if like in the next 20 minutes we actually go racing, we won't be able to complete all of the laps. We'll only be able to do a certain amount of laps. So there we are. So we got some team radio from Mick Schumacher. Let's have a listen.
Any new info? Oh, hello. No info. You can get out if you want, but
your choice. Some people are out, some people are still in. I just heard there's more rain coming soon. It's going to get worse. So maybe it's a get out. Maybe let me jump out. Let's jump out.
Oh no, this is going to be a while. Yeah, more rain forecast now. Um, it's not looking good. It is not looking good. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say really. Um, we could do an F1 quiz if that is interesting to you guys. I'm going to do a poll if we should do an F1 quiz or F1 GeoGuessr or something. Uh, F, um, F1 quiz or F1 GeoGuessr. Or if you have any other suggestions, then do let me know, and then I'll put them in the poll as well. We've got two more options. We could probably do, or just or just more commentary. I don't know. There we go. You guys can vote in that, and I'll decide in like the next 5 minutes or so what we end up doing. Yeah, 1 hour ago we were like, why is Pierre Gasly going out on full wet tires? But it does make sense now. I guess the AlphaTauri engineers quite good in wet conditions. We obviously had Seb Vettel back in 2008 going on to win the race in an in a quote unquote AlphaTauri. Yeah, so there we are. Right, we have 50% of you voting for a quiz, 21% voting for GeoGuessr, and 23% voting for more commentary. Right, well, we can definitely do a quiz, and then after that we will do some more commentary in GeoGuessr. I mean, it's not like I don't think any of you will hate either of or either three of them. So, yeah, what's the point of the wet tires if we're not going to use them? Oh no, we definitely will be using wet tires. When we do get a race restart, we will be definitely doing wet tires. So what happened with the issue involving a tractor and Gasly? I have no idea. I know Pierre Gasly started from the pit lane, and then he ended up having to go into the garage to change his front wing again. But I don't know anything about him and a tractor. So yeah, right. I'm happy with anything after getting up at 6 a.m. You can just chill and listen. It's definitely going to be back to sleep after this. Yeah. So points for the positions they got. So I think what happens is once you get to 25% race distance, so I think that's lap number 16 or something. Um, once we get to lap number 16, what happens is that the drivers will be awarded like 6 points for running the race, and then like 4 points for coming second place or something. So it's like a tiny fraction of the amount of points till we actually get to unless like the actual race distance is covered. So if we only do like a certain amount of the race, then only a couple of points will be handed out, unlike what they did in Spa last year, where they gave out half points for doing 3 laps of racing. Okay. Well, 51% of you are going for an F1 quiz, so I will try and find an F1 quiz. We've already done quite a few actually because we had that delay in Singapore. But actually, there's actually quite a lot of quizzes on the F1 website itself. So let's just have a look. Okay. So let's just drag this across a bit more. Okay. So we've got let's do Singapore and Japanese Grand Prix. How well do you know about F1's history in Asia? Um, let's start. Which Asian driver has got the most F1 Grand Prix starts? Oh, I'm gonna have to zoom out a bit. There we go. I have no idea. Which F1 driver has the most Formula One race starts? Um, maybe Kamui Kobayashi. I'm not sure. Kobayashi, right? I think Alex has been in F1 for how many years now? He's been 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. So that's what, 4 years? So that's 80 race starts. Right, well, we're going to go with Kamui. Oh, actually, right, well, apparently not. Apparently not. So Yeah. Oh, I should probably move this down. In fact, there we are. Right. So Albon has got 53 race starts. Sato has got the most actually. So there we are. Which of these Asian F1 circuits has not held an F1 Grand Prix? Um, I think it must be. There was definitely. This is the racetrack in India. This is the Korean racetrack. I think there was a race in Korea. Um, Fuji's definitely had a race. It might be Macau. Because we've definitely had a race at Suzuka. We're right there, and then there's been a race in Sepang as well. So Macau, yeah, right, got that right. Lovely. Let's see what else is there. Which of these teams were Asian? I mean, Honda is definitely Japanese, so I would say Honda. Honda, Toyota, Yamaha as well, maybe. Um, oh, not Yamaha. Apparently, Caterham as well. Caterham were a Malaysian-owned F1 team. Interesting, interesting. Okay. The Prince of Thailand was the first uh, Southeast uh, Asian F1 driver in the 1950s. He was also an Olympian. In which sport did he compete? Well, if you are an F1 driver, maybe you also do road cycling. I think that would be a safe bet. Apparently not sailing. Who won the first F1 Chinese Grand Prix in 2004? Well, Schumacher isn't on the list, and I know that in 2004 Schumacher was very dominant. So if it's not Schumacher, I don't know who else to say. In 2004, Lewis Hamilton wasn't driving. Fernando Alonso started. Fernando Alonso won his championship in 2005 and 2006, so maybe probably not competitive. Kimi Raikkonen was driving for McLaren in 2003 and 2004, so maybe Kimi Raikkonen. Um, but it might be Barrichello actually, because yeah, if the Ferrari was that dominant, then Barrichello might have went on to win the race. It was Barrichello. Lovely. So there we go. Which ex F1 driver went to become the first Asian driver to win the Indy 500? Oh, that was definitely Takuma Sato. Because it said that in the first question that he went on to go to the Indy 500 as well. Every Singapore Grand Prix has featured at least one of these things. Which is it? A spare car, a Ferrari on the podium, a red flag, Lewis Hamilton pole. It must be a safety car. Yeah. Which ex F1 driver famous for his overtakes mentored Yuki Tsunoda at Toyota Racing School? Ooh. Well, I don't know who is famous for his overtakes, but I could probably guess Kamui Kobayashi. I'm not particularly sure. I'm not sure about this one. So, how about you guys let me know in the chat? I will try and we'll see if we get an update from the FIA. But yeah, the FIA, like the race control thing, has just gone silent. There has been no updates since Mick Schumacher's team radio. So, oh no, we've got a couple more updates, but it's just been just lots of rain. Um, so yeah, not ideal whatsoever. Um, we shall go with, let's see, what are we saying? Oh, actually, let's just end this call here. It was Kobayashi. Okay. Kobayashi has also been credited by Sergio Perez for teaching him tire management while being his teammate at Sauber. Well, we know that Sergio Perez is an absolute master at managing tires. How many drivers' championship titles have been powered by Honda? Well, we've always had Max Verstappen. Um, I don't know what to say really. I don't know who, so I'm going to go with five. Oh, six apparently. Okay, so we had five consecutive titles: PK, Senna, Prost, Senna. Oh, yeah, because it was McLaren, Honda back in those days, and then Verstappen's, of course. Yeah. Which of the following sayings is the Japanese F1 driver Takuma Sato known for? Um, well, aerodynamics are for people that can't build engine. That's Enzo Ferrari. This is Senna. This is Kimi Raikkonen. So it must be no attack, no chance. So there we are. Which town did Guan Yu Zhou live in his early racing career? I have no idea. Let's just go with. I mean, town or city. I mean, you really live in Monaco as like before you're an F1 driver? Um, we can't see all the answers. Whoops, right? Yeah, I should probably be paying attention to it. Let's go with Sheffield. Oh, it was okay. Cool. Let's see. Singapore is regarded as one of the toughest races. After how many kilograms did? I mean, it must be 6 kilograms that Grosjean said. Oh, 4 kilograms. Okay, whoops. And this is the last question. The Japanese Grand Prix and Suzuka, two rivals, were involved in the most controversial. I mean, that's Senna and Prost, isn't it? Pretty straightforward. When will the race start? Okay, so that's the F1 quiz done. Let's see. Have we got any more information about when the race is going to start? Nope, nothing at all. Yeah, yeah. There really isn't much info from race control. I mean, we can have a look at the weather forecast again. We can do that. So let's have a look at the weather forecast. Oh, this is Suzuka over here. Yeah, 4.8 millimeters of rain. Before it said 1.2, and now it's 4.8. So the rain has definitely got heavier. Um, so there we go. You didn't give chat time to answer the quiz, by the way. You forgot about the delay. Oh, yeah. I do have like a 10-second delay on my stream, I think. So I don't think we're going to actually end up getting this race, maybe. I'm not particularly sure, but yeah, we're on 3,500 viewers. We lost nearly 1,000 people. I guess quite a lot of you were here for the commentary. Um, so I apologize for that. But let's get back to that screen. Okay, so guys, let me know what you think. Who you think should be driving for Williams next year, and who you think should be driving for Haas next year. There are two. There is one seat available at Williams, one seat available at Haas. Let me know who you think should be driving for for those two teams in the chat. Yeah. Whoops, I apologize. Still a bit ill. Yeah. Ricardo's not on the grid for 2023. Schumacher to Williams. Ooh. I think Williams said that they were interested in Mick. I see. Well, the thing is, right? Can the tires be changed while they're pitting for the red flag? Yes, they can. They can change to whichever tire they want right now. So yeah, that's that. What was I going to say? See, when you have Mick Schumacher, I think you'll get quite a lot of sponsors coming with him, and you'll get a fair amount of money, just in terms of sponsorship because you've got Mick Schumacher driving for your team. But then you'll have Kevin Magnussen, which will be, oh no, sorry, you'll have Alex Albon and Mick Schumacher, both quite a young team. But I think you need a little bit of experience at least to develop the car. To like know which direction to go, what's good, what's bad, um, and yeah, because I think when you become a more experienced driver, your feedback to your team becomes a lot better. As in, like you know what the car is doing exactly, and then you can describe that to your engineers to make sure that they can like fix the car and the issue as quickly as possible. And then when you got two slightly inexperienced drivers, it might not be the best way forward because you usually see that, don't you? You usually see one more experienced driver, one less experienced driver. Of course, that's not the case with AlphaTauri per se because they are a junior team. Um, but at Alfa Romeo, they got Valtteri Bottas and they got Guan Yu Zhou. And McLaren, they got Ricardo, the more experienced driver, Lando Norris, slightly less experienced. Um, at Haas right now, they got Kevin Magnussen, and then they've got Mick Schumacher. And then at Alpine, they got Fernando Alonso, and then Esteban Ocon. So yeah, you always tend to have one more experienced driver than the other. Of course, Ferrari, they've got Leclerc and Sainz, both of them relatively new to Formula One, not like. Oh, no, actually, Sainz has actually been driving around since I think 2015 or something. So Sainz is pretty experienced, to be fair. So there we go. Right, let's see. Have we got any more information? Um, yeah, no information just as of yet. Um, yeah, don't really know what to say. Um, yeah, to be fair, yeah. I mean, Mick can definitely fill in the gap. Actually, that's a good point. Um, Abu Cable. Thing is, even if you can't, like Latifi doesn't leave much of an experience gap. But the thing is that if you have an opportunity to bring in a driver that is a bit more experienced, you would much rather do that than bring a driver that's less experienced. Like comparatively, bringing Mick Schumacher to Nicholas Latifi is better because Mick Schumacher's got a little bit more pace, although he might have like a year less experience. Um, Mick Schumacher will bring more pace to the team, but then you could also bring in a driver that's got more pace and also more experience than Latifi, which will obviously benefit the team more. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any updates from the FIA? Well, let's have a listen. When is the race restarting part three? Um, yeah, no idea. So, okay, well, we've got 3,500 people watching, so I'm gonna give you guys a quick recap of what's been going on. So, the race was red flagged after a couple of laps of racing because of wet conditions, um, and then like basically the day started off it was dry, but then the drizzle started towards when we got to lights out. Then we had a couple of laps of racing, but the race got very hard indeed. Um, everyone was on intermediate tires, and that probably wasn't the right tires to be on when the race got a lot harder. Um, and then yeah, well then we saw Vettel get spun around, Joe get spun around, Albon having an engine failure and Sainz crashing. So yeah. So the inter tires probably weren't the way to go because it was drizzling basically completely entirely towards the race start. And then just before the race actually started, we got some intense rain. And then that basically screwed it all up. So yeah, don't know. It's just a bit of an unfortunate situation if I'm going to be honest with you guys. Yeah. Also, we are getting we're getting pretty close to 750k likes. So if we could hit that, then um, yeah, go ahead and hit the like button if you're liking the stream and you haven't already. Um, and yeah, subscribing as well would also be wonderful. Right, let's see what else is there to do. Oh, there was an incident between Gasly and the tractor. Um, okay, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Um, yeah, I don't know why there was a tractor on the track. Um, So it was yeah. I think they were trying to pick up the car. There must have been I think it must have been like one of Albon's or Science's car, and there was a tractor on the track picking it up. But yeah, it was on the track while the drivers were driving around. So yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. Don't know exactly what the FAA is doing. Um, yeah, the FAA very much is in a bit of a joke. So yeah, it's being a bit of a joke. So don't know what to say. Um, Yeah, I mean, Pierre Gasly got hit by a bit of advertising boarding. It was yes, yeah. The FAA don't know what they're doing really. Uh, I know it's just very. I mean, yeah, Jules Bianchi. on this same circuit. So yeah, it's a bit of a joke from the FIA. They never really, I never really learn. So yeah. Yeah, I mean the FIA is very much driven by money. I think there was some missile strikes. Hopefully, I don't get taken down on YouTube for saying this, but there was some missile strikes like near the race in Saudi Arabia, like on the Friday practice. And the FIA were like, "Yep, this is good to go. No worries about anything gonna happen, going wrong here." Um, but yeah, the FIA, a bit too money centered. And to be honest, they might try and just squeeze out like a couple of laps out of this Grand Prix so they don't have to end up paying all the fans all of the money. Because yeah, they love money. So there we go. All right. Um, yeah. Gazzy was getting angry about not getting a red flag straight away. Yeah, fair enough. Is the race cancelled? No. The safety are still going around assessing conditions, but yeah, it's too wet to go out racing. Um, oh, actually, we could get some nice photos here, and then I can actually explain what I was talking about, the dry and wet racing line thing. So let's see. Let's have a look. Will I be able to get these images up? Okay, so this is firstly the. Right, I'm gonna try and get this as big as possible on the screen as I can. What happened with Pierre Gasly was this: he's got just a massive block of advertising in front of his like view. Like, how is he meant to? How is he meant to see? Um, how is he meant to see anything? It's just a bit of a joke from the FIA, really. Um, yeah, the advertising I'm guessing wasn't stuck down, or maybe it was stuck with glue, but then the water got rid of the glue or something. Um, of course, science crashed into the barrier, which probably dislodged it a bit. Um, but how are you meant to drive an F1 car like this? Um, so that's what happened there. And then in terms of right, so this is what happened at the race start. Verstappen going down. So basically, what happens here is usually the traditional racing line is where Sainz, Perez, and Leclerc are following. You go down here, you come towards over here, sort of, and then you take the racing line on the inside, somewhere where Leclerc is right now. But the thing is, when you are over here, you end up. This is where the dry racing line is, and all of the rubber is deposited from all of the like running from Saturday. So all of you've just got rubber deposited all over the track there, and once the rain starts to fall, that rubber gets extremely slippery. So what Verstappen did went all the way out to the edge here, where there isn't too much rubber compared to over here, and you just get more grip because it isn't as slippy due to the wet rubber. So Verstappen just swooped around the outside and then ended up getting a better exit. Leclerc got pinched towards the curb, which is the traditional racing line. But because it is the traditional racing line, it is yeah, a lot more slippery in wet conditions. That's how Verstappen got ahead of Leclerc at the start of the race. I will try and find the images of. Okay, so Alex Albon got damaged because of he got damage because of contact. He got a hydraulic issue. Um, so yeah, there we go. Also, this is the weather forecast. This blue cloud, I think, is what they're talking about the heavy rain being. So this blue cloud has got to approach, which I think it already has now, and then it will be going away slowly, slowly. And yeah, let's see what else. What other images have we got here? We had some pretty good images. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So this was Alex Albon's race over because of mechanical issues. Joe spun around on the exit of the hairpin. And then we had, yeah, Gasly with a pretty chunky piece of advertising in his way. And then Vettel spun off after contact with Fernando Alonso. Um, and then this is science into the barriers. So, yeah, that was the summary of what happened at the race start. So that was a bit of a recap. Do I have footage of the tractor? I don't think the FI, yeah, see, it won't be on this website because this is the official Formula One website and they'll never admit that they made a mistake or anything. But I will try and get an image of F1 Gasly tractor. Let's see, I'll try and get an image. I'll load it up when I find it. Apparently it's somewhere here. Yeah, it's pretty, the visibility is extremely bad. Let's see, open image in new tab. But yeah, effectively this is just a picture off Twitter. But yeah, this is the tractor that's just there. It's got like two very faint lights, and Pierre Gasly's just driving past it. Look at his steering wheel here at the bottom. Turn to the right because he's just seen it. He's like, I can't hit that. So yeah, that's what happened there with Pierre Gasly and the tractor. Yeah, don't know what else to say really. So that has been a bit of a start, a bit of a hectic, weird start to this Grand Prix. And we don't even know if we're going to get a full restart. So there we are. All right. Yeah. So Andrea Seidel has said, all we can do is wait, study the weather forecast, and make sure the cars are ready to go out at any moment. The drivers as well. To be honest, it's quite a pessimistic outcome. Uh, the forecast says it will keep raining. So there we are. What happened to Science? So Science, on the exit of the hairpin, was accelerating at the hairpin, and then he aquaplaned. And yeah, once you aquaplane, of course, you have basically your car, instead of touching the road, it touches like a layer of water. And then yeah, you have no grip because you're driving on a layer of water instead of the road. And hence he spun out into the barrier, and that's what happened there. So it's not really even Sainz's fault. It's more of, well, I guess it is kind of Sainz's fault because he hit a puddle, but it's not like you can't really blame him because he had no visibility whatsoever. So yeah, it almost did become a Jules incident. So yeah, the FIA. I mean, this is at Japan as well. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's to be expected. The FIA would not put their own mistake up on their own website, or like the official F1 thing. But yeah, nevertheless, it is what it is. Oh, also, guys, there is links in the description to F1 merch. If you're thinking about buying new F1 2022 merch, there is probably some stuff on discount right now. So yeah, just go ahead and check out the link in the description. There is also my Twitter, Instagram, and Discord in there if you're interested. So yeah, go ahead and give that a follow. Um, yeah, I might as well just plug my socials because yeah, there's nothing else much to do. Uh, yeah, it is not raining. Yeah, it's not racing and it's not boring. So, no idea. What do you call a deer with no eyes or legs? I have no idea. Will the merch ship to Australia? Yes, it will. Um, yeah, the merch is the official F1 merch. It's not my merch. I haven't made any of that yet. I'm thinking about making some, but yeah, it won't be F1 gamer merch. It'll be more of like F1 like fan merch kind of thing. Yeah. Did I already do a lap rundown? Yeah. I mean, once we get a safety car, once we get a 10-minute timer to when the restart happens, I'll do another lap rundown. But yeah. Okay, so if Verstappen wants to win the championship today, basically, we have to get to lap number 40, but with only a minute and 24, or with an hour and 24 minutes left on the clock. That's going to come out to be what, 84 minutes. And if we're doing 1 minute 50 lap times, yeah, if the race doesn't restart in the next uh, in the next 4 minutes, then Verstappen won't be able to win the championship today, unless Leclerc, of course, bins it. But I don't think that's going to happen. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, you should let the drivers actually put the drivers into go karts. Yeah, I mean, the drivers should be fine driving around in go karts. Let them drive around Suzuka. That will be. I would love to watch that. Yeah, right. Midnight in Colorado, USA. Yeah, I mean it's 8:40 a.m. in Italy. It's 7:40 a.m. here in the UK. Um, yeah, F1 still going pretty delayed. See, the issue is that the FIA can't exactly adjust the schedule unless there's like crazy conditions that they know in advance. Because the weather forecast it came earlier than expected. They were expecting the rain slightly later, but it came earlier than expected, according to one of the like FIA technical officials or whatever, or one of the engineers. But um, he had it back in 2019. There was a typhoon on Saturday, and the FIA completely cancelled everything, and we're going to do qualifying on a Sunday, and then also have a race on a Sunday. Um, and yeah, so the FIA can do stuff, but they need a bit more for like earlier warning because you have to think about this. There are like more than 1,000 people working in the F1 paddock, um, and all of them have their fixed schedules and kind of stuff that they need to do. So switching that all up within like 1 day's warning, um, yeah, it's not going to be the most like effective thing that's going to help out really. So yeah, that's really all I can say about that. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, no idea of when the race is going to restart. I mean, we can have a look at the weather forecast again, but the weather forecast has been pretty similar for the past couple of hours. Um, where are we at? Over here. Um, yeah, this is where the Suzuka circuit is. Um, and yeah, if we go forward a bit, 5 millimeters of rain, 4.8 millimeters of rain. Yep, just pretty consistent with what we've been seeing from before. So yeah, not much else to say. Oops, right. Hits up 1, 2, 3, 2. No worries. Yeah, I will be commentating for the US Grand Prix, by the way. And hopefully, yeah, I'll be commentating F1 2023 after this as well. Um, yeah, at least it looks like that so far. So yeah, we will. Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely see you guys for the next Grand Prix if you guys are deciding to go. Because I suspect some places it's 2 a.m. or so. If you've got work the next day. Um, so yeah, you might as well take your leave if you have. Yeah, there we are. What are the bets on restarting? Yeah, I mean they might as well instead of having betting on who's going to win the race or what, just have a bet on how many times the FIA messes up and if we actually are going to get a race restart. Yeah, the crowd are all stuck. The crowd are all there. They've all got their ponchos and raincoats, but yeah, no one's leaving. But yeah, the FAA still haven't given anything. I mean, it must be a pretty bad experience just standing out there in the rain. It must be pretty cold. Also, guys, we are getting close to 1,000 likes. If we could hit 1,000 likes, that would be brilliant. Um, yeah, especially for this Grand Prix that hasn't been going the way that it should have. Yeah, a couple of likes here and there and a couple of subscriptions as well would be very much appreciated. Um, yeah, for the 8:43 in Amsterdam. Yeah, it is. I mean, to be honest, if it's early in the morning, you can probably stay up if you haven't got anything to do. But there we are. Yuki Tsunoda, though, he's going around the track, waving to all of the fans, which is very nice to see. Of course, it's his home race. He was very pleased about it, very happy with all of the media stuff. And yeah, very unfortunately, he can't go out score some points for his home fans. Um, yeah, but at least he's going around keeping them entertained for a while the rain keeps on falling. Yeah, maybe moving the Japanese. Yeah, it makes sense actually. See, with countries with like a little bit less of a like extreme climate, because if you think about say like England or whatever, they we don't really get like we don't have a storm season or anything. We have like rain like winter kind of thing. And it rains quite often, and you can hold the Grand Prix in those kind of conditions in like just rainy conditions, which makes it a lot more exciting. But um when you have countries which have a lot more extreme weather, so like extreme summers and then extreme monsoons, it becomes a bit less feasible to do that. Like especially like Malaysia and stuff. Like, see, in Malaysia you could get like a thunderstorm within like with basically no warning whatsoever. That sometimes made the races really exciting, but also sometimes it just made them like, well, you just red flag the race and you just sit in the garage for like 3 hours. So yeah, maybe that's not the most suitable time to do it at. Maybe the FAA could think about it more, but to be honest, the FAA doesn't really care as long as the FAA get their money. Um, they're not going to say much. So also, yeah, my voice slightly quiet. I'll turn the volume up a bit. Yeah, yes, there are rivers basically everywhere. So there we are. Volume's a little low. Yeah, I slightly just moved away from my mic. I turned it back up again. Um, right. Have we got any information from the FIA? No, we have not. God, yeah, nothing whatsoever. And also, by the way, Verstappen, unless Leclerc wins it, it's pretty likely that that Verstappen will not be winning the championship today. So yeah. Oh yeah, no, I've just seen a meme. The FIA use wet tires or draw 25 cards. And yeah, the FIA is definitely drawing 25 cards. Um, yeah. Oh, also because basically we've got nothing to do. Do you guys want to count up to 100 in chat? Because yeah, why not? What is there to lose? So I'm going to start off, one, two, and let's just count up to 100. Because this is slightly boring. Hopefully, I mean, by the time we count up to 100, let's hope we get an update from the FIA. I mean, the half an hour has definitely passed from the last time we got that team radio from Aston Martin, where they said it's going to be 10 minutes till the rain arrives and then 20 minutes till the rain stops. Um, so yeah, we'll wait and see. The half an hour should have been passed. So by the time we get to 100, hopefully we get an update from the FIA. Well, what till we count to 100? We're on 12, I think now. 13, 14, yeah. Um, so Christian Horner has said that Max was struggling to see at the front. It's something we need to look at the future at the asphalt and drainage. The full wet tires is a survival tire, but there's no performance in it. The Inters is about 4 seconds a lap quicker around here. It's a tricky one. So it's maybe not even it's not even really the FIA's fault. I get well, I don't know what I was actually going with that point. Basically, the Inter tires are 4 seconds faster than the wet tires. The teams will do basically anything they can to go on intermediate tires because it's going to just help them out so much. Um, in terms of race pace, like even if they have to like back off the throttle going through like 2-3 corners because they will aquaplane if they're like accelerating, it's worth it because around the rest of the lap you're just so much quicker. Um, so the FIA probably gonna have to do something about because Suzuka it's got uphill and downhill sections, but the problem is when you have that, the probability of rivers forming is extremely high. And rivers across the track just form like massive yeah chances pretty big chances of you to just spin around. So yeah, there we are. We're on 29. Okay. Oh yeah, we're on 29 now, so we're on, yeah, we'll be getting to 30 soon. It looks like loads of people are just like the chat might be actually delayed for some people, so that might be why. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, we're on 1 hour and 14 minutes left of the race clock. So in 1 hour and 14 minutes, the race will officially be over. I don't think any points will be awarded, and I certainly hope all of the fans at the Japanese Grand Prix get their things refunded. Yeah. Also, the other thing is that there is a duck. There is a duck on the F1 track right now. The duck is enjoying the conditions. There's rivers. There's big puddles. The duck is enjoying life. So yeah, we could have a boat race. Boat race? Question mark. Yeah. Right. Also, guys, remember to stay hydrated. Very, very important. I need to get a drink because yeah, my throat's going to start hurting if I keep talking for any longer without having a drink. So yeah, if you guys haven't had a drink in a while, you've probably been here watching the stream for how long has the stream been going on for? Like what? Nearly 2 hours now. Yeah. So if you've been watching the stream since the start, go ahead and get some hydration because it's very important. Okay, so yeah, we've counted up to 51 now. We are on a roll. Yeah, so hopefully by the time we get to 100, we should be getting some updates from the FIAs. Yeah, the fans are still doing some Mexican waves in the stands and just yeah, still in pretty good spirits by the time while they're here. Of course, they've had 3 years of no F1. So yeah, it is still raining. Still raining. You are correct in saying that. But yeah. All right. What else is going on? I mean, all the drivers are just in the engineers looking at all of the drivers just looking at the weather forecast. Um, Honest, there's not much else to do really. Can't really blame them. Race starts in the evening. They cannot do that because I think they don't have floodlights around Suzuka, and even if they did, I don't. The FIA have to like prove it like a couple of months in advance. Um, so don't think that'll be happening. Uh, yeah. Yeah. See, the thing is, the time has already started. So yeah, even if they could do a race at night, the time has already started. So once the timer starts, you can't stop the 3 hour clock, even if there are red flags or whatever. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, all the fans are just. I mean, to be honest, we're just getting shots of the fans putting up on camera and then getting really excited about Sonoda and Max. So great to see. Oh, we're up to 2072 now. Ooh, it's raining. Yeah, it's still raining, guys. But the rain is getting lighter. The rain is definitely getting lighter. Um, so maybe it's gonna stop. I really can't tell. Um, well, yeah. To be honest, I'm not a meteorologist, but yeah, and I also don't have an accurate weather forecast of the Suzuka track, but it is yeah, it's raining, but it's getting lighter. So maybe we could get a race restart. Maybe get 45 minutes of racing or so. I don't know how many laps that would be. It'd probably end up being like 22 laps of racing. So that'd be like half race distance or so. Well, a bit less than half, but I mean, 22 laps of racing is still 22 laps of racing. Um, we will just have to wait and see. We will just have to wait and see. Yeah. Ooh, we're on 86 now. We're on 86 and counting up. Um, yeah, humidity is 92%. So yeah, rain is still very much in the air. Um, Real question: what happened to the duck? The duck is still. I presume the duck is still enjoying life. The water wouldn't have been got rid of that. Wouldn't have disappeared that fast. So yeah, the duck is very much probably enjoying life. Yeah. Or 95, 95, Lightning McQueen's number. Um, 97, 98, um, 99, and then we have Tom Stephen types the first 100. There we go. Right. Why is this countdown happening? Because we're just trying to count down for the race to maybe start. Um, the medical car's driving around. This is maybe a bit of an update. Medical car driving around and it's lapping. It's had a bit of a wobble. The wipers are going full speed, but the spray does not look too bad. So maybe it's not too. I don't know. But the thing is, of course, the the medical car is I think it's an Aston Martin, and it's very high up. Like it's a what's it, a 4x4 Aston Martin kind of thing, SUV. Um, and well, quote unquote cockpit in that car is a lot higher up compared to the F1 car. So yeah, probably not the best way to compare. So there we go. Yeah, the duck's got a 5 second time penalty for exceeding track limits. So yeah, don't know what else to say really. Yep, I mean, yeah, the spray does not look that bad, but of course it's a medical car, not driving around at like 200 miles an hour. So yeah, don't really know what else to say. Um, oh no, the medical car's a Mercedes car actually. I expected, and it's not a 4x4. It's a long car. Who knows? I guess we're just going on now. Some people are carrying on counting. Um, yeah, 1 hour and 7 minutes. Sorry, till the race is completely off. But yeah, we still have a bit of hope. I mean, it doesn't look like it's raining on the camera, but yeah, I can't tell because there aren't any puddles to look at because you can only really when you're watching like when you're looking for rain in a camera, you can't tell unless you're looking at a puddle. You can see the raindrops actually fall into the puddle. Um, but on the camera itself, there are raindrops. Oh, okay, no, the rain is still fairly heavy actually. Yeah, I've just seen a puddle. Yeah, rain's still looking pretty heavy. Um, yeah, but I mean F1 cars have done it, and we've done it in what was it, Austria in the Syrian hills. There was yeah some pretty heavy rain in 2020 when we after COVID we decided we're gonna go racing for like half a year. Um, we had that. I think we had that double header. I don't know if it was the first or the second race of the double header. But in the qualifying, there was extremely heavy wet like rain. Um, and the F1 driver still managed to drive through it. So yeah, not particularly sure what's going on. Yeah. Okay, if we get to, I think it's if we get to 15, yeah, if we get to 25%, if we get to 16 laps of racing, right? Um, driver in first place will get 6 points. Driver in second will get five, and then four, and then three, and then two, and then one. So yeah. Okay. So when will the race start? Well, um, to be honest, I'm not particularly sure. FIA is still giving us no information whatsoever. Um, Vettel and Mick Schumacher having a little conversation in the garage, the Aston Martin garage, but yeah, no more. Um, Yeah, no more updates. Yeah, actually, I said scientist's suspension wasn't damaged. I was incorrect. I just looked at his car now, and his suspension is most definitely damaged. Um, yeah. See, this is the Belgian Grand Prix all over again, but at least hopefully the fans get their money back. Because yeah, they've paid. Well, they've waited 3 years, probably paid quite an expensive price to come and watch this race. I definitely hope that they get to at least get their money back if they don't get to watch. Yeah. Yeah, Alpha Delta Los Martinez Tech. That is a very good point. Of course, you've got to consider that these drivers are they're risking their lives. Of course, safety has improved very much in F1. But when you still have tractors around the track and stuff, it's not. Um, and the thing is, it's not like if the drivers had visibility, I'm sure they'd be able to control the car, because they are one of the most experienced drivers in the world, experienced and talented drivers in the world. But when you have no visibility, um, you can't actually see what you're doing, like whatsoever. And when there's rivers all over the track, aquaplaning is not within your control whatsoever. If you're going like too fast over like a little bit of water, you aquaplane, and there's nothing you can do about it. Um, so yeah, there we go. Oh, the FIA assesses the duck for a 5 second, yeah, 5 second penalty for illegal wings. That's a good one. Um, yeah, it's 3 a.m. For yeah, pasta for life. Well, pasta for life. Hope you had some pasta, eat, and yeah, I guess good night because you're probably pretty tired staying up till 3 a.m. And the race happened on Monday or today evening. I don't think it can because see the thing is once the timer is started, the timer doesn't stop. If they decided before the timer started, okay, we're going to cancel the race for now, and we're going to go start it on Monday. Then I'm sure they should could have somehow worked it all out. But yeah, they didn't do that. They were like, we're going to go racing, and then ended up doing what two laps of racing. So yeah, is Nightbot legit or a scam? No, Nightbot is legit. Um, that's my yeah. I set that up. It was quite a while ago that I set it up, so it might not still be working. But I think they're all working. Yeah, I think I checked the links before, so yeah, Nightbot's legit. Yeah. Well, I guess while you're here, if you guys are looking for F1 merch, then there is a link in the description. I get like a 10% cut out of the stuff that you end up buying, and it doesn't cost you any more. So yeah, if you are interested in getting F1 merch, then go ahead and use the link in the description. It does support the channel. And then of course there's Instagram, Discord, and Twitter in the description as well. So if you are interested, then go ahead and give me a follow on there. And yeah, my DMs are open if you guys want to talk about stuff like F1 related or whatever. Um, yeah. Okay, have we got any updates from the FIA? Nothing. Yeah, the updates that we get are more and more slower and slower on the race control thing. Um, oh god, my voice. Yeah, 2021 Spa flashbacks indeed. I suspect there'll be a lot of memes about that. Um, about how it's flashbacks to 2021 Spa. But yes. Okay, so what Mario Isola said, who's the director of Pirelli, um, well, Pirelli Motorsport director, what he said is that he's checking the weather forecast, and in Sector 2, the intensity of the rain is higher than the rest of the track. And Sector 2 is basically Degna 1 and 2, the hairpin. Um, and then your way up to the spoon curve. So if you've got too much rain, the thing is, uh, the Pirelli have ways that they can modify the tire so it can cope with extra rain. But the problem is, even if you do have extra, like if your tires can cope, you have no visibility, and if you can't see, there is literally no point, because you don't know where the track starts, where to turn, or anything like that. Um, so, I mean, Nicholas Latifi, he made that mistake of turning too early for the chicane. He had no visibility, no warning or anything. And then he saw a bit of it. He probably saw like an apex and he was like, oh shit, here's the corner. Um, and then he just got to turn. Yeah, also, I just swear by accident, but yeah, hope you guys don't mind. Um, but yeah, he was like, oh god, there's a corner there. I better start braking and turning. Um, so yeah, when you have no visibility, you make stupid mistakes like turning for the wrong corner. Like it's pretty um yeah, not ideal. So even if I mean, the tires could probably cope because the track doesn't look that wet anymore. Um, but yeah, when you can't see anything, and you can't see puddles that you need to avoid or anything like that, it becomes a lot more dangerous. It's basically like driving blind. Like you're not going to let a blind person drive, are you? Um, so yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Is it still raining? Yes, it is. It is still raining. If the race is cancelled now, there will be there'll be no points awarded. Oh, race restart! We're getting a race restart. Oh yeah, we are getting a race restart in 9 minutes time. Let's go. Okay. Hopefully this is an actual race restart. But we are actually getting a race restart. Okay, okay. Let's go. Okay. I mean, I haven't read this wrong, right? Yeah, no, no. Race is restarting. Right. Oh, there is a resumption. Let's go. Woohoo! Can we get some hype in the chat? Can we get like everyone that hasn't hit the like button already? We've got 3,500 people watching. You can smash that like button. That would be wonderful. And yeah, all right. And all the fans are cheering now. It is wonderful to see race restarting in 9 minutes time. All the mechanics getting around, the cars are getting back into the drivers are getting back into their cars. They'll be taking the cars out back onto the pit lane, putting on I presume they'll be putting on the wet tires. But the race are restarting. We've got 56 minutes left of the race, so maybe we'll get to the halfway point. But yeah, it's gonna be something like that. So yeah, woohoo! Okay. Yeah, I was actually thinking about maybe ending the stream, but well, we're not doing that now because we are going racing. Ooh, whoops. Okay. Um. Oh, we're actually getting quite close to 46.5K. We're only what 20, 15 subscribers away from hitting the halfway point, halfway marker. So that'll be great to see. Yeah, all the drivers and yeah, all the drivers and engineers now just running around, trying to get their stuff ready. Um, yeah, we're going racing, guys. We are going racing. Are they going to restart from where they left? No, it will be a restart from where they left off, but I don't know if it's if it's a safety car restart. I think it will be a safety car restart. Um, oh, guys, okay. So what's going to happen is, in 6 minutes' time, all the drivers will be coming out behind the safety car. They will be driving around behind the safety car. They'll be assessing the conditions, if the visibility is good or not. And then if the visibility is good, then we will be going racing. So it is not. I mean, the odds are they've took us out. They've told everyone to get the cars ready because they are going to go racing. Um, but yeah, there is still a potential little chance that the race could be. They assess the conditions, the visibility is too bad, and then they say, okay, well, the race won't restart. Um, so yeah. Ooh. The race restart time is at the top of the clock. Yeah. Yep. So 16 laps will be 25%. So if we complete 16 laps of racing, we've already completed two. We're on the third lap now. So if we complete 16 laps of racing, there will be 6 points awarded for the driver in first, and then I think like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the drivers going further down. And then the point system is completely different for the driver in second place. Um, as in, if we, oh no, sorry, the point system is completely different if we complete more than 50% of the race. And then it's different if we complete more than 75% of the race. So, yeah. The FIA can't regulate how Verstappen needs 8 points to win the championship. So yeah, there we go. So if we only complete 25% of the race, he can't win the championship. Should the FIA regulate the amount of spray a car can make? You really can't regulate that. Um, like it's very much quantitative. It depends on how deep the puddles are, like how how the water is spread across the track, um, and like what speed are you going at? All of those different factors. So you really can't regulate the amount of spray on the track. So yeah, I mean, it seems like a good idea, but yeah, it's not a thing that you'd actually be feasibly able to do. Um, yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, 46K subs. We're getting pretty close. I mean, we're 9 subscribers away from hitting 46.5. But yeah, last year, on the 9th of October, we hit 10K subs. So yeah, it's been a pretty wonderful journey. Going from 10K all the way up to 46 and a half. Well, 46 and a half minus 7. All right. Well, we've got 52 minutes left, right? And if the lap times if we take 2 minutes per lap, say, oh no, we have 3 minutes left till the time till we actually get going, and then 51 minutes left on the clock. That's going to go down to, what, 47, 48. And if we take 2 minutes per lap, then it'll be 24 laps of racing. So yeah, 24 laps of racing. That's what to say really. Um, so that should be 25% of the race. Um, yeah. Well, no, not sorry, 25% race. It'll be like 20 or 20. Oh no, it'll be 30% or like 35% or something. But you'll only be awarded like a small fraction of the points because obviously that the entire race didn't actually happen. It's not possible to have a 100% race because we don't have enough time left on the clock. So yeah, there we are. 2 minutes 30 now till we get going racing. We are also, what is it, 56 likes away, 55 likes away from 1,000 likes. If we could hit that, that would be wonderful. And we've just hit 46.5. Woohoo! Um, yeah, getting closer and closer to that 50K. That would be a very nice milestone indeed. Um, yeah. No, the FIA made the system so it's like, but if you've done less than 25% of the race, I don't think you get any points. If you have between 25% and 50%, then you get the same amount of points awarded. If you have between 50 and 75%, then the same amount of points, and 75% and then 100%, then you get the normal amount of points. So yeah, they have like a different amount of points depending on how many laps you've done. Um, yeah. So there we are. Okay, 1 minute now. All the drivers now just getting into their cars. Um, Pretty frantically, in fact, as well, because they don't really have that much time. Um, and yeah, we will be going racing very shortly. I'll try and get some images for you of like what the spray is looking like, because of course the spray is probably the most important thing right now. Um, Depending like that decides if we go racing or if we don't. If we don't, um, so yeah. Okay, right. Ooh, what's this? Yeah. Okay. Very nice. The rain has definitely slowed down. Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been going racing. So yeah, the safety car will be coming out on track very, very shortly. Um, let's go back to green flag conditions. Well, I guess it's technically safety car conditions. I guess. So let's just put safety car out. Um, yeah. Right. How many more points does Verstappen need to take the title? He needs eight more points to take the title. So yeah, 8 more points. I don't think that's going to be possible. Because we're only going to get 6 points awarded for the driver who wins the race. So even if he does get 6 points and Leclerc gets none, yeah. Racing gamer, this is your first time watching an F1 live, and you find it interesting. Well, thank you. And I think someone else said it. Yeah, Gregory Worth. Thanks for the commentary. You made the delay a lot more bearable. Well, very much do appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate the nice comments. Really. I guess yeah. Hopefully, trying to make it a bit more interesting for you guys. It looks like Verstappen is staying out on the Inter tires. I'm not. Oh no, Verstappen's out on the. Oh no, Sergio Perez is out on the wets, but Verstappen out on the Inters? Question mark. I Yeah, I mean, unless the tire hasn't updated, it hasn't updated because he hasn't gone through the first sector, but everyone else's tires are updating slowly, so everyone's out on the wets, but Verstappen out on the inters. Um, right, I'll try and just confirm what tires he's on. Um, but yeah, if he's not out on the wets, that is pretty. Oh no, here it. Okay, so it's just updated now. Verstappen out on the inters. Everyone on the wet. Sorry, everyone's out on the wet tires. And yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, apologies, guys. I don't know why the software was saying that he's on the wet tires. So it was on the intermediate tires. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so let's get going. Right, let's have a look at the spray. So it'll be a matter of time before we get an update from the FIA. Oh, we've got a lot of team radio coming through. Okay, we've got Hamilton team radio. Let's have a listen. Oh, actually, I'll just play it on the other thing. But yeah, we'll be having a lot of team radio coming through because, of course, um, all right. So we got some radio from Verstappen.
And most weather stations suggesting it has flipped back to a northerly, which is a tailwind through 1780.
A tailwind through 17 and 18. Okay. I'm gonna try and guys, the map will disappear for a second, but I'm gonna play some team radio for you guys. So have we got some? Hamilton said the track's pretty good.
I think the situation will be same as before. We can talk to laps, a couple of laps behind the safety car. During those laps, race director has asked to give some feedback on conditions. So I'll prompt you. Let us know as well.
Okay. Right. So let me just turn that setting down. Right, there we go. Okay. So effectively what's happened is that the FIA have told the drivers that they have to report back to. We're getting a rolling start, guys. It will be behind the safety car. But the FIAs have told the drivers to report back what they think of the conditions, and if they can go racing or if they can't. But yeah, I mean, looking at the video feed that I've got, I can see Verstappen's car behind the safety car, but then behind Verstappen's car, yeah, there is just a whole bunch of spray, and then you see Leclerc's car just emerging from the distance. Valtteri Bottas is into the pits. Maybe that's glitched out a bit. Yeah, I think Valtteri Bottas's GPS is broken. So just ignore that. Yeah. All right. The drivers are driving around now, just assessing the conditions, and then we will be what we will find out. We're currently on lap number 4 of 53, and yeah, 12 laps away from getting to 25% race distance. Why doesn't the race start? The race doesn't start because the FIA still have to make a decision of when they're going to bring the safety car in and if it's safe enough to drive around. So yeah, that's why the race hasn't restarted yet. We got nearly 5,000 people watching. We're very close to 1,000 likes. If you guys haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed as well, be sure to do that as well. yeah, I do stream every single weekend. So yeah, we'll be commentating the US Grand Prix, Mexico Grand Prix, all of them. So yeah, go ahead and tune in. I will see you guys there. Okay, so looking at the spray is looking a lot better. Hamilton driving extremely slowly across the rivers on the track, but the rivers seem to be getting broken up by the drivers driving all over the place, clearing up the conditions. And also, this gives the drivers a little bit of time to explore the conditions on their own, as in they can try and explore, like, go off the racing line, on the racing line, where is which part of the track has the most grip, which part doesn't. So, yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I can confirm that Bottas's GPS is just broken. Nothing has happened there. Um, so yeah, pretty straightforward. I mean, track conditions are looking pretty good, but the driver's driving around pretty slowly, and the faster you drive around, the bigger thing you've got. Um, Bottas came over the radio, said the visibility is too poor when there are some cars ahead. So Bottas still saying visibility is bad, and all that. This is behind safety car conditions. When you got more than when you like going faster than safety car conditions, there's more and more spray picking up. So there we go. No, Bottas isn't starting from the pits. His GPS is broken. Um, yeah, that's what's happened with Valtteri Bottas. Um, All right, let's see if we're getting any more team radios through, because basically the race starts depending on what the drivers say. So we've got some team radio from Charles Leclerc. Hamilton says the track's pretty good. Okay, we got some more radio. Have we got? Yeah, we got Charles Leclerc's radio. So let's have a listen. Here we go.
Check conditions when you can. It's not too bad for now.
See, Leclerc can say that because he's only got Verstappen ahead of him, so he can just be like, okay, let's not go perfectly behind Verstappen, and I should be okay. But yeah. I mean, I can have a listen to some of the other radios as well. In fact, let's have a quick listen. The map's just going to disappear for a sec. Let's just turn the team radio volume up and let's have a listen to the team radios. Okay. Oh, safety car will enter the pit. Safety car going to come in this lap, guys. As far as I can tell, we are on lap number 5, aren't we? Safety car coming in. We are getting a race restart. Let's listen to Ricardo's radio.
Other drivers have complained about visibility. Yeah, that's at the moment. That's actually the bigger issue. I think track conditions are not too bad in most places.
Okay, so track conditions aren't too bad, but of course, visibility is the issue. It looks like we are getting a safety car restart, though. That's what came over on the race control thing. So I will just double check that, and then I will, and then yeah, safety car coming in. Yeah, safety car entering the pits. We're getting a rolling restart. Okay, so here we go then. We're going to green flag racing. Safety car coming in. By the way, Bottas's GPS is once again broken. That's why there's a little gap between Norris and Latifi. That's where Bottas's car is meant to be. But of course, yeah, GPS broken. So there we go. All right. The safety car will enter the pits. We have a rolling restart procedure. Right, so here we go then. Verstappen leading the way, Leclerc behind him, and yeah, Perez behind him, and then Ocon up in 4th, Alonso behind Hamilton, of course. That'll be interesting to see how it goes. But Verstappen now just coming out of the final chicane, and then he has slammed on that accelerator pedal, not spinning out, fortunately, and he is on his merry way, and Leclerc has kept up with him, but Perez has got a slow start. He got surprised by when Verstappen decided to go, and he got held up there. So we got Verstappen, then Leclerc, and then Sergio Perez, already 2 seconds behind the two of them. All right, so let's go racing then. Nobody's actually gained or lost any positions. Latifi and Vettel both into the pits. Don't know why they've gone into the pits so early. Maybe they are going onto intermediate tires. That might actually be the way forward. I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out soon enough when they come out the pits. They're out on intermediate tyres. Okay, so Latifi and Vettel go for the early pit stop for the intermediate tyres. In fact, that's what Daniel Ricciardo said. The track conditions aren't actually too bad, but the visibility is the issue. So there we are. All right. So the race is once again underway. You're on lap 6 of 53, and we got Verstappen in the lead of the race. About a second behind him, we got Charles Leclerc, and then 3 seconds behind those two, we have Sergio Perez. Magnussen overtakes Stroll, in fact, what an overtake. I mean, I didn't see it, but I mean, in these conditions, he's done it somewhere in the middle sector into Degner 1 or 2. Absolutely brilliant. Latifi drops down 1 position, and yeah, Vettel overtakes Latifi, and Latifi decides not to fight it much. But yeah, the Aston Martin looking very good in those green tires on their green car, those green intermediate tires on the green car. Yeah, a bit of a slow pit stop from Aston Martin. Vettel and Latifi were side by side coming out the pit lane, and Vettel just got the tiny bit of better acceleration. Latifi decided to play it safe, not bin it into the wall. So there we go. All right, Max Verstappen setting a 1 minute 50.7. Let's see what the drivers on intermediate tires can do. So they're just getting their way through the middle sector. We'll see what their middle sector times are. And yeah, okay. The thing to consider is that for now, the middle sector times aren't going to be that fast from the intermediate runners because they have got cold tires, whereas yeah, the drivers at the front have got hot tires. But look, saying that Vettel putting a middle sector of 49.0, and Verstappen's middle sector is also a 49.0. Both of them have no spray. And Latifi gets a. Oh no, Vettel's got a fastest third sector. Latifi's now got a fastest third sector. The intermediate tires are the way forward. We could see Vettel and Latifi, yeah, going up gaining some positions. They were at the back of the grid, and then once everyone. Thing is now because there are 14 drivers all out on wet tires, and they know that the intermediate tires are the faster tires. All of them are going to come into the pits probably in 1, 2, 3 laps. And yeah, well, if they're all going to come in at 1, 2, 3 laps, then yeah, Bottas's GPS is broken, so that's why he's stuck there. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Vettel with the fastest first sector going what 0.4 of a second faster than Max Verstappen. So yeah, Christian Horner did say the intermediate tires are 4 seconds faster than the wets. So yeah, definitely the way forward. We'll now just have to wait and see what they can do with that little bit of extra performance. Okay, we've got 36 minutes left of racing. I should probably put that up as a timer, in fact. That might be a little bit more suitable. Let me just edit that for a sec. It certainly says 6 minutes, but yeah, it should be 36. There we go. Okay, so this is the timer that we have for till the race ends. So there we go. Vettel though are absolutely flying. I mean, we saw him yesterday in qualifying. Oh, look at this. We got Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Ocon, Hamilton, Russell, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Stroll, and Gasly. All of the drivers coming into pits at the same time. There is going to be an absolutely massive traffic jam. And I suspect there'll be maybe an unsafe release or two, drivers getting held up or something. But yeah, all of the drivers coming into pits all on the same lap. That is absolutely ridiculous. Red Bull doing a double stop, Mercedes doing a double stop. Yeah, Vettel up into 10th. Wow. I mean, he was down right at the back, and just coming on to those inter tires at the start was the way forward. And everyone into the pits now. So yeah, Vettel now got the fastest lap of the race. He's got those warmer tires as well. We could see Vettel overtake Hamilton. That would be absolutely brilliant. I would love to see that. They're having their little battle now. So let's see what's happening. Right. Okay, so currently in the lead of the race, we've got Alonso, Ricciardo, and Schumacher. Don't think I would have been saying that when I woke up this morning. But yeah, those guys are still yet to pit. We've got Zhou still yet to pit. So Zhou, Alonso, Ricciardo, and Schumacher is yet to pit. Everyone else is back out on intermediate tires, already doing their pit stop. And yeah. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed as well, you're enjoying the commentary. It would very much mean the world if you did. Hit that like button. All right. So Leclerc right on the back of Zhou, now 4 seconds behind Verstappen. The gap wasn't that big, but I suspect Leclerc got held up in the pits a bit, and yeah, that's why he's slightly behind now. So we'll wait and see what can happen. But Vettel's still holding that fastest lap of the race. Alonso comes into the pits. Does Ricciardo follow him through? Yes, he does. All right, then who else have we got left? Is Mick Schumacher going to be leading the race? Mick Schumacher does not come into the pits. He is leading this race as far as I can tell. So there we are. Mick Schumacher leading the race. And as I say that, Max Verstappen immediately goes ahead and overtakes him. So Schumacher was leading the race for about one full straight, and apart from that, Verstappen just breezed past him. So yeah, not much else to say, but a fastest middle sector from Verstappen. And Alonso's also out. He's now behind Vettel as well. Yeah, we got Hamilton, Vettel, and Alonso in 7th, 8th, and 9th. The three titans of the 2010 era now down in the midfield. Absolutely crazy scenes. 2000s and 2010s era, but yeah. All right. And we got Verstappen and Leclerc up in 1st and 3rd. Leclerc right on the back of Mick Schumacher now. We'll see what he can do. But they're going through the hairpin. And yeah, this is where Leclerc's teammate Carlos Sainz crashed. So it'd be a bit ridiculous to go for an overtake there. Okay. Right, Ricardo pits. He drops all the way down to 15th position. So Norris and Ricardo started the race together. But because Ricardo stayed out 2 extra laps, he went from probably being in 10th or 12th all the way down into 15th. So not ideal. That early pit stop definitely did help out. It definitely helped Vettel out. He was going to start from 18th and all the way up into 8th now. So good job there from Seb Vettel. And the Aston Martin strategy team, props to them as well. All right. 30 minutes remain, so we should, if we're lapping at the 1 minute 45, I will just calculate how long that's going to take, how many laps we should get through there. So 30 divided by 1.75. Ooh. We should. Ooh, wait, what? 30 divided by 1.75 equals 17 laps. We should get 17 laps of racing. 17 more laps of racing, so we should get to 26 laps or so. That will mean, I think, 6 points for the drivers that finish in first place. So Verstappen cannot win the championship at today's Grand Prix. Schumacher still hanging on those wet tyres. Maybe the Haas team have forecasted a bit more rain, and that's why they're staying out on the wets. But yeah, everyone else has seemed to go for the Inters. It could end up being like race Hockenheim 2019, where we had, I think, 4 or 5 pit stops from pretty much every single driver because of the changing conditions. I guess you never really know. And also, I'm looking at the onboard cameras here, and there is really nothing to see except for spray. The only time you don't see spray is when you're in the pit lane and the drivers are coming in for a pit stop. Apart from that, the majority of what you're seeing on camera is just spray. Also now, Charles Leclerc setting fastest second and third sector, fastest first and second sectors. He's 4.2 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and it looks like he's on a mission to try and catch up to him. All right, we'll see what he can do then. Fastest lap of the race, half a second faster than Verstappen's previous lap. So Leclerc very much trying extremely hard to try and catch up to Max Verstappen. Ooh, Zhou's lost 5 positions. Looks like Guan Yu Zhou had a bit of a spin. If I'm going to be honest with you. Yep, Guan Yu Zhou had a bit of a spin. He was up in 9th, down into 18th now. I don't think he was prepared for the intermediate tires. He just pitted onto them. Or did he just come into the pits? No, he spun. He definitely spun. Yeah. So I don't think. Yeah, Zhou wasn't ready for the intermediate tires. I think, or he might pit. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't got. I've only going off the data. I wasn't looking at him on the map because I can't. Because he's not showing up on the TV feed. All right. Oh no, Guan Yu Zhou came into the pits. Never mind, ignore me. Yeah, Zhou and Schumacher were out on wets. Zhou came into the pits just then, and Schumacher decided to stick it out. Vettel up into sixth position. You'll love to see it. Um, and Alonso and Schumacher's lost another place now to Alonso. But yeah, Vettel swoops past Mick Schumacher through the S sections, and he was trying to get past through the S sections. Unfortunately, didn't do it. So let's see what he can do. I'm just watching the replay, guys, but um, yeah. So Vettel taking different racing lines, trying to avoid the spray as much as possible, and the rivers, of course, across the circuit. Um, but then I think coming out through Degner 1 and 2, getting extremely close, but then saving the overtake opportunity for the hairpin, because that is a pretty solid choice to make an overtake. Yeah, and Schumacher was very much holding up Vettel, and that's why Alonso caught up, and so did Latifi. So Vettel now going around the outside at the hairpin, just was swooped around the outside, and we got a helmet cam from Fernando Alonso. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. So, how many points will be distributed? I think it's 6 points for the driver in first place, 5 points for the driver in second, 4 points for driver in third, that kind of thing. Yeah. All right. Schumacher finally does go into the pits. He realized the wet tires really isn't the way forward, especially when the inters are maybe 4 or 5 seconds of faster per lap. So there we are. All right. So currently Verstappen's got a 5 second lead, and he's actually lapping faster than Leclerc. So Leclerc did one lap, was going to end up catching up to Verstappen if he carried on at that pace, but Verstappen decided to pick up the pace a bit. And yeah, that was great to see. All right. Why is Bottas's GPS is broken? I should probably just pin a chat message saying Bottas's GPS is broken, because loads of people have asked about it. Yeah, right. Let me just do that. But yeah, all the drivers now out on intermediate tires. So yeah, track conditions have dried up, and of course, when you have F1 drivers, when you have 20 F1 cars just driving around on circuit, they are pretty good hoovers of water. So the dry line is very much forming. Of course, there is still spray, but yeah, nowhere near as bad as before. Yeah, there are some parts of the track where there's spray, some parts there isn't, but um, it's all right. The drivers are able to cope. Hamilton, though, getting managing driving very very well, pretty much with millimeter precision. Like he's not going he's getting very close to the curbs, but nowhere near. Um, well, I say nowhere near, but it looks very controlled when he's driving the car around. And his yeah, basically not going anywhere near the puddles near the inside of the curbs, because the curbs kind of have a little indent when they touch the track, and then water kind of all just flows towards there. And if you touch that, spinning off is quite simple, very easy to do, and pretty hard to prevent as well. So yeah, Hamilton doing a good job trying to catch up to Esteban Ocon. In fact, he's doing a good job, 8 tenths behind. So he's basically covered in spray, but yeah, still able to keep up with Esteban Ocon. George Russell's come over the radio and said that the brakes are the same as Singapore quali brake. George Russell been struggling with brakes all of the Singapore Grand Prix, all of this Grand Prix as well. Um, well, not all of this Grand Prix, but he's starting to struggle once again on the brakes. So that is not great for him. We had Tsunoda and Gasly struggling on the brakes yesterday, but they got their issues fixed for the race. Yeah, don't know. Yeah, Russell still, for some reason, there's something wrong with those brakes, and they are just not working effectively. How many laps of racing we should get? Well, we're doing 1 minute 45 lap times, and Verstappen definitely is. He's going consistently 1 minute 45s, and Leclerc slowed off to a 1:47. So Verstappen's just got some ridiculous pace. But with 24 laps remaining, we should be doing around about another 14 laps or so of racing. So we'll get to lap number 28, 27 kind of thing. And yeah. Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. We've got 8,000 people watching. And if you haven't subscribed as well, be sure to do that. I will be streaming for the US Grand Prix. And yeah, so make sure to tune in for that. I think the US Grand Prix is the next one. The one in Texas. Yeah. Yeah, US United States Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. All right. Yeah, Mick is going pretty quick now, but I mean he's matching the pace of like Vettel and Alonso in sixth and seventh position. But yeah, he is so far back that he really can't do anything. Um, yeah, I don't know why he stayed out so long. I mean, Magnussen pitted 4 laps before him, so maybe it was a personal choice. Like he just wanted to stay out on wets, didn't want to aquaplane. Um, but yeah, we got some team radio from Daniel Ricciardo, who's currently in 13th position. So let's have a listen.
Is anyone struggling on the Inter yet? That's not clear yet, no.
Okay, so nobody knows. And then we've got some team radio from Hamilton as well, who's actually getting extremely close to Esteban Ocon. And Alonso's getting close to Seb Vettel as well. So we've got some battles brewing up through the field.
So others starting to struggle with the fronts too.
Okay, so Leclerc's starting to. Oh, not Leclerc, other drivers, according to Hamilton's radio engineer, are starting to struggle with the front tires. Yeah, because when you go through the S sections, most of the load goes onto your front tires, front left, right. And when you're into intermediates, if they start heating up too much, then your tire wear gets excessively high. And yeah, don't know what else to say really, but yeah, excessively high tire wear, not great. Do the drivers have to lift 130R? I don't know. I haven't actually seen an onboard of the drivers going through 130R, so I can't tell. But I would imagine it would be a pretty small lift if it was a lift because they just have so much downforce these days. Um, yeah. Okay. More rain in 2 minutes. Right. Well, I mean, even if it is raining more, the track looks pretty dry now, so it should be okay. Yeah, Hamilton actually closing up on Ocon, but yeah, not able to actually close that gap. As in, it's been hovering around about that same half a second area for the past couple of laps now. He's getting closer and closer. Ocon maybe running out of battery charge or something, but yeah, it's not looking good there for Esteban Ocon because Hamilton is getting closer and closer. And Ocon's looking to struggle. Yeah, he's probably struggling with his front tires as well. Going through the hairpin, his his really basically his car wouldn't turn. So yeah, front tires getting pretty dead. Russell overtakes Lando Norris. So yeah, Russell going up 2 positions in a pretty short space, overtaking Tsunoda and Norris up into ninth, looking to catch up to his teammate. Of course, he's got Nicholas Latifi, the absolute GOAT, up in 8th place. Can we just talk about how Latifi's up in 8th place? I have no idea how he's in 8th place, but somehow he's. Oh, he pitted with Vettel, yeah. Vettel and Latifi pit on the first lap when the safety car came in. So, yeah, that's how he's up into 8th place. We'll wait and see what he can do. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Charles is 10.9 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Verstappen's pace is really not letting up. Every time Verstappen slows down, Leclerc slows down slightly more. And yeah, I don't know exactly how Verstappen's doing it and being able to manage his tires so well, but yeah, somehow he's figuring out a way. Change to slick's question. Well, no, it's way too dry, as in way too wet. Sorry, let's change to slicks right now. There is still spray flying around. There's some parts of the track that are extremely dry. But yeah, it's not great. Okay, so Leclerc coming over the radio saying how many positions are we going to lose if we pit, and then they said they'll lose 5 positions and you'll come out behind Alonso in 7th place. Um, so yeah, it's not a good idea to pit right now because yeah, if you do end up pitting, then you are going to lose a lot of of time, and you've got 20 minutes left. So that's 20 minutes is probably what? Um, just more like 12 laps, 12, 15 laps or so. You've got to deal with those tires. Um, and to be honest, it might be actually the way forward to switch, like just turn those intermediate tires into the interslicks that we had in like um, Turkey 2020, where we just drove, where the drivers just drove for so long on the intermediate tires, they just turned into slicks. That might be the way forward because it's not slick tire conditions whatsoever just yet. But there are portions of the track where you can go, where you could be all right on slick tires, and there are portions of the track where you definitely need the inters. So just wearing out your intermediate tires till they become semi-inter, semi-slicks, definitely might be a way forward. But of course, it's not great when just your front tires are wearing out and your back and your rear tires aren't. So Leclerc will probably have to play with the brake balance and differential a bit, so he can manage those tires. All right. Yeah, as I was saying that, Leclerc drops back 2 seconds again, from 10 to now 12 seconds behind Verstappen. So yeah, he hasn't found a way to manage those brake temperatures. Well, not brake temperatures, sorry, tire temperatures, going through turn number one. Not turn number one, sorry, sector number one. And yeah, if your tires are overheating through sector number one, you go through Degner one and two, the tires once again overheat excessively because they're such high energy corners. Um, yeah, so and then you get a bit of a cool off after the hairpin when driving over to Spoon Corner, and then a long cool off again. But yeah, the cycle of going up in temperature, down in temperature also excessively wears out your tires, which is yeah not good. Um, Hamilton, though, on the back of Esteban Ocon, is still hovering around that 4/10 of a second gap. Ocon doing a great job. I mean, he's done this before, staying ahead of Hamilton. He did it in Hungary, of course. Hamilton was chasing him down then, whereas right now Hamilton is behind him. But Ocon did a great job managing all of the pressure of Seb Vettel on that race. In fact, Vettel was getting closer and closer. And in the pit stops, it was so close. In fact, they basically were side by side coming out the pit lane. But yeah, Ocon held on, managed the pressure extremely well, and we'll wait and see what he can do against Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, we've got 9,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, if you can, yeah, hit the like button, then that would be very much appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed as well, then go ahead and do that too. We got Leclerc with the fastest lap of the race, but that was a while back when the inter tires hadn't worn out so much. And yeah, all right. What else is going on? Okay, so the int means so you see here, right? It says Perez has got an int of 4.1 seconds. That means the gap between Perez and Leclerc is 4.1 seconds. And then Ocon's int is 8.2 seconds, which means his gap from Ocon to Perez is 8.2 seconds. So it basically means what's the gap of you to the driver ahead of you. It stands for interval, but yeah, that's what it means. Oh, I did pin the chat message. Yeah. Um, Bottas's GPS is broken. There we go. There we are. All right. Yeah, Lewis is getting closer and closer. Ocon coming over the radio. I don't have access to this radio, but the teams do. Ocon's talking about coming into the pits, maybe. Yeah, we have some team radio from. Oh, we actually have quite a lot of team radio. Hamilton, Leclerc, more Hamilton, and then some Fernando Alonso. So let's listen to all of this.
So others starting to struggle with fronts too.
Yeah, okay, we've already listened to that one, but yeah, front tires are becoming an issue around here.
And Ocon is making noises about pitting. Yeah, let's make sure we undercut him, yeah. Copy.
Okay, so Hamilton saying undercut Ocon. So Hamilton also thinking about pitting. So they've only got what 15 minutes of racing left, and they're still thinking about pitting. Might be the way forward, but I don't think you're going to gain all that time back. The drivers were setting 1 minute 45s when they came out on a fresh set of intermediate tires. Of course, the fuel's come down a bit, so they'll probably be doing maybe 1 minute. I don't know what they'll be doing. but maybe 143s, 144s. Um, and yeah, that's 5 seconds faster a lap. But when you only have 7 laps left, is it worth coming into the pit stops and also having to overtake a bunch of drivers as well? Because that poses a pretty big risk as well. But we will have to wait and see. Guan Yu Zhou has gone for it. He's gone in for the intermediate tire, so we'll wait and see what he can do. But the time is ticking, so if you don't come into the pits now, you might as well not come into the pits at all, because you're not going to be able to gain back that time and that advantage that you have from those fresh tires. We have radio from Fernando Alonso. Let's have a listen.
I don't know how aggressive I can be to attack him. At the moment, stop without seeing a lot of traffic.
Yeah, coming into the pits not a good idea because everyone's bunched up, but they're not like well. There's drivers spread across basically every part of the track. Um, yeah, Hamilton getting actually very close to overtaking Ocon. Even going through 130R, tried to go around the outside, but decided to think better of it. And still, Ocon holding on for dear life here against Lewis Hamilton. Um, Absolutely fantastic defending from him. I don't know what to say really. Just um, putting the car in the correct places, leading Hamilton onto the slightly less favorable parts of the track, and then maintaining that advantage. Esteban Ocon, a fantastic defense from him today. We saw Alonso can defend against Lewis Hamilton. Just something about Alpine drivers and being able to defend against Lewis Hamilton in tricky conditions. Um, yeah. So going through 130R, Hamilton was on the right, Ocon was on the left. Looks like Hamilton, yeah, just came off the throttle a bit, maybe, or maybe even didn't. But Ocon just stayed ahead. So nice job there from Esteban Ocon. Latifi still in ninth. Russell finally gets past Nicholas Latifi. Latifi could be scoring points. I mean, it was all due to that amazing pit stop call by whoever the Williams strategist is. They're like, come into the pits now. You might as well. Um, and he did so. And we got Vettel up in sixth and Latifi in ninth. Both of those drivers pitted at the same time. Yeah. Perez back into the 147s, both Red Bulls actually in the 47s, and Charles Leclerc in the 148s. So, yeah, maybe the Red Bulls have better tire wear, but I suspect it might just be that there are faster cars, so they don't have to push as much and they don't wear their tires out that much either. Okay, so Stroll, fastest middle sector, and their lap times, we'll wait and see what their lap times are like. But I suspect they won't be too fast. And also the other thing, when you come, because we don't have tire blankets this year, you come out you come out the pits with your cold tires, which means they take a while to warm up, and that also negates a bit of the advantage of the undercut. Yeah. Also, let me know who your driver of the day is. We got 11 minutes left of racing. I don't know really who to vote for. I'd say Vettel mainly because Vettel's my favorite driver. He's up in sixth place, but yeah, I don't know who to put for driver of the day to be honest. Ooh, in fact, yeah, Stroll going 46.6 through the middle sector. That's going nearly a second faster in the middle sector than Max Verstappen. But with only 10 laps remaining now, you're only going to have, say, 5, 6 laps of actual racing. And you're not going to gain back all of that time after you have to heat up all your tires as well and make overtakes to get back your position. So you might as well just go for just stay out for as long as you can and try and defend against the drivers ahead of you. Um, Ocon once again doing a fantastic job defending against Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, don't know what else to say. Guan Yu Zhou gets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 44.4. 3 seconds faster than Max Verstappen's previous lap. Those fresh tires really coming in clutch. He's got those heated up, and it should be good. Right. We got Perez 2 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. It'll be great to see the two Red Bulls in a 1-2 at Suzuka. Of course, they aren't particularly Honda engines anymore, but they have got the Honda engine factory and stuff. So um, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. Can Red Bull score a 1-2, or will they just stay in 1 and 3 for now? Also, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do this. Definitely will help out the channel. We're getting pretty close to 1,500 likes. And yeah, we could probably actually hit 47k. I mean, we've got 10,000 people watching. I'm sure some of you aren't subscribed. Actually, YouTube tells me 80% of you aren't. So yeah, there we go. So if you haven't subscribed, it would be absolutely amazing if you hit 47k, just that one step closer to 50. yeah, Hamilton actually now, what he's doing is because he's behind Ocon, he's getting like dirty air, his tires are overheating kind of thing. So going down the straight, instead of getting the slipstream off Esteban Ocon, he goes offline, picks up a bunch of water that's on the track to cool down his inters, and then going into the S section, he's got cool down inters, so it doesn't wear out his tires too much, as to if he didn't go into that wet patch. So yeah, that little experience that Hamilton's using there, definitely paying off in being able to maintain that 4/10 of a second gap. I mean, we haven't seen a. You've got to consider here that there's no DRS as well. Without DRS, he's 4/10 of a second behind Esteban Ocon and consistently just riding his back, pushing him through corners. So yeah, he's definitely got a lot of um, well, he's definitely got the pace to stay behind him, and Ocon's just got an absolutely amazing defensive maneuvering. Really, just puts the car in the right place at the right time, and Hamilton really can't do anything about it. Latifi once again in the points. Alonso comes into the pits finally. He really could not manage the car with those 14 lap old medium tires. Ocon doing all right on those 15 lap old medium tires, but admittedly he has got a lot of clean air ahead of him. Alonso was stuck behind Seb Vettel. So we'll wait and see. Once again, Ocon and Hamilton going to 130R. Hamilton on the back of them. Looks like they're not lifting really. They're just going flat out. Of course, they're much more smoother on the steering wheel than they would have been. But yeah, Ocon and Hamilton still going at it with 7 minutes remaining of the thing. Yeah. New announced driver of the day. I don't know. Driver of the day gets announced at the end of the race, doesn't it? Oh, we have some team radio from Lando Norris. Right.
Lando, if we add a stop, the net time is about the same, but we have to pass 6 to 7 cars. What do you think?
I'm not sure. I think everyone's tyres are hopefully going to start to go from now. So maybe they'll fall into the same boat as me.
Okay, so they're basically saying, if you've got 6 to 7 tires, well, you have a load of cars to overtake if you come into the pits now, but you will probably end up in the same position. Do you want to risk it on a used set of tires, or do you want to stay out on, yeah, like, or do you want to go out on a new set? So, yeah, we'll wait and see. What are the chances of a Red Bull 1-2? Well, the chances are looking up and up. Leclerc's pace is getting slower and slower, and Perez is catching up. Alonso with the fastest middle sector now on a fresh set of intermediate tyres, already ahead of Norris. And then, yeah, he'll be looking to make his way past Nicholas Latifi. Oh, he's past Nicholas Latifi. Wait, what? Never mind. But there we go. Currently, the fastest lap of the race is still held, though, by Guan Yu Zhou. I suspect not Verstappen, Alonso will be taking that away soon enough. But, yeah, Perez, in fact, catching up to Charles Leclerc, and Leclerc under pressure. We'll wait and see what he can do. But Ocon doing, once again, just solid defensive work against Lewis Hamilton. And there's really nothing that can be done. And same for Charles Leclerc. If he puts his car in the right place with no DRS on this circuit being activated, it's going to be pretty tricky. Yeah, Leclerc as well going down on the wet parts of the track to cool down his tires going into the S's. That's definitely going to help him out. And yeah, we'll wait and see. Right, we got Fernando Alonso in 8th position, overtaking Nicholas Latifi. Next up on his list is George Russell, but the thing is, he's 11 seconds up the road. We'll have to wait and see what his pace can bring him on those fresh tyres. Yuki passed Mick through 130R. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to look at a replay of that, but and you guys are as well. But yeah, absolutely great. Well, I mean, through 130R, any overtake through 130R is brilliant. I don't even have to watch it to tell you that. So yeah, Ocon though doing a great job. We'll wait and see what can happen. Hamilton actually getting closer than he was before. He was down to a quarter of a second rather than 4/10 of a second. But yeah, still just dropped back now. Hamilton getting closer and closer, but Ocon just surprisingly absolutely flawless under pressure. And hopefully I don't commentators curse that, but Ocon doing a brilliant job indeed. Yeah, I don't know what else to say really. Also, if you haven't hit the like button as well, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, we're getting pretty close to 47k now. Only 289 people left to subscribe, so pretty good. Goes a fast lap. Guan Yu Zhou still. Fernando Alonso does set a very fast lap indeed, but it's slightly slower than Guan Yu Zhou's by a 10th of a second or so. Stroll overtakes Magnussen. Nice job there from Lance Stroll. He's on those fresher tyres, of course. We'll wait and see where he ends up. Potentially into the points. But yeah, he's got a gap to catch up to Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. He is going 2 seconds a lap faster though, so we'll wait and see where he ends up. Alrighty. So we got 4 minutes left of this race now. Verstappen can definitely come into the pits, but there's really no point. He's got a 22-second gap. He could probably get a puncture and still get to the end of this race. Well, okay, maybe not a puncture, not now. But in the last minute or so, he could get a puncture and still end up winning. So, yeah, there's no need for Verstappen to come into the pits. He can just drive a bit slower, make sure not to explode those tires. We got Perez in third place, applying lots of pressure on Charles Leclerc, but Leclerc still, once again, very much like Esteban Ocon, just holding that defense up very nicely. And yeah, there is nothing that Sergio Perez can do to get past. Nicholas Latifi still in ninth place, and he's got a 1.5-second gap to Lando Norris behind him. So if he can hold on to that for the next 3 minutes, 3 minutes plus one lap, then he will actually be able to score some points, which will be wonderful. Right. Sergio Perez taking some weird racing lines as well, trying to get past Charles Leclerc. Leclerc going the usual traditional outside racing line. Perez going the inside. Everyone exploring different parts of the track, trying to gain time wherever they can. But Perez losing out to Charles Leclerc so far. Yeah. What do you think of the future of AlphaTauri when Nick joins them? Well, AlphaTauri have a pretty good future. Yuki Tsunoda, of course, doing a great job in the AlphaTauri right now. And Pierre Gasly as well. He's leaving. But Nick De Vries, I think he's a Formula E world champion, so he's definitely got racing experience and stuff. And yeah, definitely he'll do a good job in AlphaTauri. But yeah, he's switched completely from Mercedes to Red Bull, which is a bit interesting. So there we are. Oh, I don't know what the point system is actually. I thought the point system. Okay, well, we'll double check the points afterwards. But it might be because we've reached half race distance. Ooh, yeah, it might be because we've reached half race distance. We might get full points. I'm not 100% sure actually. It shouldn't. It doesn't. It's a bit weird, but here we are. Perez once again just on the back of Leclerc. And same for Hamilton. It's just yeah. Okay, Verstappen's just come in asking, "Are we going to box for new tires?" And yeah, they've said no over the radio. 1 minute 30 remaining of this race, and we have got Max Verstappen holding a a lovely 24-second advantage over Charles Leclerc, and Sergio Perez putting a lot of pressure on him as well. Once again, taking that rather different racing line through the hairpin, but still managing to make it through very nicely. And he's actually scraping all over the ground now with his titanium skid block. But yeah, no sign of Charles Leclerc's defense failing. And yeah, all right. How come Joe has the fastest lap? Because Joe literally came out of the pits and just went full send. And yeah, and got fastest lap of the race. I don't know what to say really. Um, he just did. He was like, why not just? I don't know. He probably didn't think about it too much. Probably was just trying to come out of the pits and set a fast lap. But yeah, here we are. All right, we've got 11,000 people watching. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. Leclerc gets a little squirrely on the exit, a bit of oversteer, but still able to stay ahead of Sergio Perez. Perez closer this time, but yeah, not able to do much more than he could before. All right. So what else have we got going on here? We've got 10 seconds left of the race. So once this lap is over, so Verstappen, there's 6 seconds left. I don't think he's going to cross the line in time. I will just double check. But yeah, there will be one more lap after this, and then Max Verstappen will have won. Yeah, we'll finish this lap. So Verstappen's on his final lap, and then yeah, the Grand Prix will be over. So Sergio Perez has got one lap to try and overtake Charles Leclerc. Pretty straightforward. You got 18 corners, and one objective. All right. Max, I don't think he's world champion just yet. Yeah, no, he's not world champion yet. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward. He is going to win the championship, but yeah, not yet. He hasn't officially mathematically won it yet. Perez, yeah, getting out of the way of the spray and everything, deploying all of the battery. But well, he's probably deploying all of the battery considering there's basically no time left in the race anymore. And yeah, Verstappen going through the hairpin now on his final lap of the Suzuka or of the Japanese Grand Prix around Suzuka. Um, Latifi's still in ninth, doing an absolutely a wonderful job. Yeah. All right. So here we are then. All the drivers just on their final laps. Max Verstappen driving around. Yeah. Perez getting extremely close here. Can he do anything to overtake Charles Leclerc? It's getting closer and closer, but it's not looking good for him. Yeah, maybe through into the final chicane, but it's going to be pretty risky. But here comes Max Verstappen out of the final chicane. He's led this race brilliantly. We've only had half the race of racing, but he crosses the line and wins the Japanese Grand Prix to get that one step closer to winning the World Championship. Right. Yeah, that is a bit of a glitch. I don't know why it says 53 laps have finished, but the race is technically over for Max Verstappen, so that's why it's gone over to 53 laps. Nicholas Latifi still holding on that ninth place spot. Lando Norris is 7/10 behind him. Well, even if Lando Norris does overtake him, Latifi will still get 1 point at least. Sergio Perez doing his absolute best, but both of them cross the line. Leclerc in second, Sergio Perez in third, Ocon cross the line in fourth, Hamilton in fifth. Alonso somehow overtakes Vettel. Alonso overtakes Vettel at the final corner. It's a side-by-side drag race, and Vettel is 11 milliseconds ahead of Fernando Alonso. Oh my god, that was close. Yeah, I don't know how we didn't see that much before, but Vettel and Alonso side by side going across the finish line. It was so tight. Right, then here comes Nicholas Latifi out the final corner. He crosses the line and scores 2 points. Well, I don't know if he scores any points actually because we didn't actually do the entire race. So Williams, so he finishes in the points if it was an actual race, but we don't know if he scores any points. And then we have Kevin Magnussen crosses the line now. So does Valtteri Bottas. So does Joe Gasly, and now just Mick Schumacher left. And here he comes across the finish line. And that has been the Japanese Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas, his GPS is broken, so that's why he's stuck there on the map. But yeah, absolutely brilliant race to watch. And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. For you guys, everyone that stuck along for like the 4 hour long stream, I think now, or 3 hour long stream. Oh, no, 4 hour long stream. Wait. No, it's been 3 hours and 20 minutes or something. But yeah, everyone that's tuned in, yeah, huge shout out to you guys for sticking around for all of this. Yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed, please be sure to do it. If you could hit 47k now, like 10,000 people watching, that would be wonderful. And yeah, we're getting pretty close to 1,500 likes. That would be great as well. But apart from that, it has been a pleasure commentating to you guys throughout the red flag, doing these quizzes on F1, and then finally seeing half of the Japanese Grand Prix. Yeah. So that's all I've got to say really. Yeah, I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time around the when F1 is racing at the Circuit of Americas in Texas. Yeah, have a nice morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Cheers, fellas.